Good evening. I'd like to call to order the January 18, 2023 Lower Saucon Township Council meeting. Mark, please hold the roll.
Mr. Bananas?
Here.
Mr. Croce? Here. Ms. DeLeon?
Here.
Mr. Engels?
Here.
Ms. Yerger?
Here.
All right, please rise and pledge the flag.
United States of America, opposed to one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council did not meet in executive session before today's meeting. They intend to meet in executive session at the conclusion of the meeting. Public comment procedure, again, a copy of the public comment procedure is available on the tables outside the council meeting room. For public comment on agenda items only is for residents and taxpayers only with a 3-minute time limit. Before we get into the public comment, I first want to make a motion to amend the agenda. I'd like to move up the presentations, hearings, ordinances, resolutions, Part A, which is Resolution 32-2023, recognizing Thomas Anderson for his service to Lower Saucon Township. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bananas, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Croce?
Yes.
Ms. DeLeon?
Yes.
Mr. Engels?
Yes.
Ms. Yerger?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. All right, what we have before us is Resolution 32-2023. This is a resolution honoring Thomas Anderson for his dedicated service to the residents of Lower Saucon Township. I'll share the contents of this resolution with the public. Whereas Thomas Anderson served the residents of Lower Saucon Township for 35 years as a Lower Saucon Authority Board member, first being appointed in 1988, serving as 12 of those years as board chairman and 17 as vice chairman. And whereas during his service on Lower Saucon Authority, Tom was instrumental in working on projects such as Apple Butter Road Tank, Black River Road Meter, Foster Road Meter, Hickory Hill Road PRB, Black River Road PRB, and the design of the Creekside Pump Station. And whereas his expertise and participation in the ad hoc building code committee was vital to the implementation and adoption of the township's building codes, which are in effect today, ensure the long-term sustainability of local planning and construction. And whereas Tom was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in 1946, and moved to Allentown in 1968, then to Lower Saucon Township in 1976, attended Northampton County Community College, earning his Associates of Science degree in 1973, then went on to earn his Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from Drexel University in 1982. And whereas Tom had a successful career with the Matos Enterprises for 24 years, working company for 4 years, Reading Site Contractors for 5 years, and 13 years with Navarro and Wright Consulting Engineers, where he was a construction inspector and project manager. And whereas Tom and his wife Dolores have been married for 52 years, raising a son Christopher and a daughter Kelly, and is a proud grandfather to Cole and Benjamin. And whereas in his spare time he enjoys fishing, especially in Canada, IndyCar racing, rooting for his favorite sports teams, including the Pittsburgh Steelers and Penguins, and spending time with his family. And whereas Tom's contribution will be greatly missed as a member of the Lower Saucon Authority. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of Lower Saucon Township, Jason Benonis President, Mark Engels Vice President, Thomas Croce, Priscilla De Leon, and Sandra Yerger, Council members, hereby honor and commend Tom Anderson for his dedicated service to the residents of Lower Saucon Township. Adopted and enacted this 18th day of January 2023, Lower Saucon Township, Jason Benonis, Council President, tested Mark Hudson, Secretary. I'll make a motion to approve the resolution recognizing the outstanding accomplishments and contributions of Tom Anderson.
And I'll second that. I know, Tom, you can't see me, but we go way back. And I just, appreciate all you've done to make the authority what it is today. So,
we vote on the resolution, is there anything you'd like to say to us?
No, I've enjoyed my time.
Thank
It's
you.
already, that's it.
Thank you, Tom. All right, so we have a motion, and I think we have a second, right, Priscilla?
Yep. Mr. Croce?
Yes.
Ms. DeLeon?
Yes?
Mr. Engels?
Yes.
Ms. Yerger?
Yes.
Mr. Benonis?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you. All right, we will return now to the original agenda. The next item we have is agenda items only, residents and taxpayers. We're going to time limit. I have the sign-in sheets, and I'll call the names in order of the sign-in sheets. All right, the first name I have is Bob Laska. Bob Laska.
From my understanding, when this yard was sold, or whatever, there were already agreements with ISCI or whatever. And those agreements laid out, certain rules and regulations. Some of them are actually codified law where if they're violated, these truck drivers can be fined. One of the things in those rules and regulations is a designated truck route. As a matter of fact, there are 3 of them depending on which direction they're arriving. Anybody coming from east of here, north of here, whatever, is supposed to be traveling 78, get off 78, and then 412, make a right on Shinersville Road and a right on Apple Road. They're not doing that. They're coming up Island Park Road, some of them are going across Saucon Road, and then some of them are going down Apple Road. They're not supposed to be anywhere near us when they're doing that. Why does that continue? It's been brought up over a month ago. It took you guys less than a month to start activating these transactions for the landfill, yet nothing's being done about the regulations over the individuals. There are not supposed to be any trucks that are leaking material on the road. I've seen it plenty of times. It's in there that the truck tires are supposed to be washed before leaving the landfill, get this, on the days that they're washing tires. Why hasn't that been amended that before you leave, the truck tires have to be washed, period? These are problems with the existing landfill. I can't even imagine what's going to come if this goes any further and end up expanding. This is absolutely ridiculous. You've heard all the complaints before. I think it's about time to do something about it to our benefit, not some outside firm.
Bruce, Gina Finnerty, Finnrty. Okay, next is Bruce Petrie. Bruce Petrie.
Bruce Petrie, 2626 Rivington Road. I'm not going to get into the legalese of everything, but my wife and I are lead appellants in a motion to stop the nonsense that's been going on last couple of months, probably longer. But I'm going to tell the story. It has to do with landfill. We live in a house that was built in 1775. It's older in this country. When we purchased it, it was its own landfill unto itself. The caretaker that lived there, his son, fix cars up, just threw spark plugs everywhere. So I can't tell you how many car tires, spark plugs, windshields, other various and sundry items that we had to pay money for to haul off the property to turn it into a pristine area. And for those of you who come springtime, we would love anyone that's a resident of the township to show up, and we'll show you where this expansion of the landfill is going. And you know, you can throw up all the maps you want to, but it's not going to show the trees. It's all covered with trees. Can't even really see through the trees, that's how dense it is. So they're going to have to mow down all those wonderful trees. We put a fair amount of our property in open space to keep it open, and the expansion of the landfill would butt up to our property. And I can't tell you the impact of the wildlife, not to mention the runoff in the Bull Run and subsequent Lehigh River. But again, been there about 33 years. It's a beautiful old farmhouse built by the Scheimer family. Scheimer's, the farmhouse is listed on a map dated 1860. It's got the number of free colors on it. Just to give you some history, that's pre-Civil War. So we have a map up of that as well. So we spent a lot of blood, sweat and tears making this a beautiful place, and only have the regs turned on its head to turn it into a garbage dump. So again, would anyone who wants to come out and see it come springtime, we'd love to show you. We have a nice overview of where they want to put this landfill, and we'd love to have you out. Thank you.
CCLARIN.
Matthew McLaren, 2198 Riverside Drive. I'm just here, basically, against the agenda item on the board for the board tonight, and that would be the application for obviously the ordinance change. I think I'm just going to say, go a little off topic here, but obviously there's going to be some in-depth conversation on this. I don't think it's fair to the citizens, something of this magnitude that gets discussed tonight, to have to speak before the, the item even comes up, or before there may be a vote cast. In the past, there's been a wealth of knowledge in this room on any agenda item that comes up before this board, and there's been a wealth of knowledge for anybody in this room, and I believe that part of good governance is letting some of the public speak on any one of the agenda items as they come up directly after the discussion that council has. I believe it's good public policy. I mean, I don't know why we got away from that, but it's kind of tough, I think, sometimes when you read the board packet and you're trying to read through all the information. Like I was just sitting there trying to read through this permit application, and it's a lot. And there might be some really in-depth discussions that take place. You might have people in here that are civil consultants that have, differing opinions. You might have landowners that have differing opinions of what the landfill says. And for a decision like this, I think that, the public is limited to basically before the meeting or after. Not right before the vote. I think it's, kind of, I guess, good public policy. Like I said, I think, I hope that could come up on a further agenda and have to rethink about that. No matter what, you have 3 minutes. I don't think that it's going to kill anybody to allow the public to speak right after an item on this. If it could potentially save the township money or come up with an alternative idea. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Tim Murphy, IUR PHY.
I'm just up here to voice my opinion. I don't think, I disagree with the rezoning that occurred from special exemption use to conditional use. I also disagree with the expansion of the landfill in its entirety. I don't believe enough research has been done regarding the landfill expansion. And I don't think the long-term effects of it have been reviewed in depth. I don't think enough research or review has been done of the long-term effects of its negative effects on groundwater or on its effect on indigenous fauna and flora. I think Priscilla outlined several of those reviews that should have taken place prior to. I also don't think enough reviews going into its effect on the Lehigh River water quality or on the Bull Run water quality. I find it hard to believe that the Commonwealth is not going to be involved when the Lehigh is a major tributary to the Delaware River, and the Delaware River provides over 50% of the water to Philadelphia. So I don't even see how that can go through. I'm also disappointed that you approved the zoning change so quickly after hearing all of the different people that live adjacent to the landfill. Gentleman just spoke before, several people in the last meeting. I don't think you guys are really considering a lot of your constituents. And lastly, I just think some data was shown about the EPA saying how much money, if you save and invest in fresh groundwater, it saves you, like, for $1 used to save on conserving fresh groundwater, it saves $27 for your water treatment. So it's well worth it to just do an in-depth review of the long-term effects of groundwater, of contamination, and hurry, rather than hurry through it, approve it, and in the future have to spend 27 times that to correct the groundwater pollution. And that's basically all I have.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Last year, he spoke, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I signed 3 times. Don't I get to talk 3 times?
Yeah, well, one time, sir.
Oh, okay.
You can talk on the non-agenda, they're more welcome. Sean, I can't really read this last name, I'm going to try to spell it. I think it is Haronott. You can identify yourself first.
And it's Sean Harnett, SCANHARTMETT. And the last time I spoke here, I was pretty mean to all of you, maybe deservedly so. But tonight I'm going to take maybe a different approach instead of calling all names. You have actually a pretty easy job, and that's to serve us. And so you might be wondering, what does that mean? Well, maybe you can start with protection. I know we have police here somewhere in this building, so your job is to protect us. Thank you. Your job is to ensure that our lives are enriched, that we're healthy and safe. I fail to see how this achieves that. This doesn't enrich us because you're going to diminish the value of my property as well as hundreds of other constituents with a dump going up. I don't know how that helps the tax revenue either. This isn't like we're debating whether or not a target's going to go up over there and you want to repurpose that forest land. That would be something I think we'd all be willing to debate here, the value and merits of that. We're talking about a literal dump. Again, I said this the last time, and maybe I'm being insulting, but this is like an episode of The Simpsons. When did we prioritize a dump over the needs of the citizens? That's us. And I know, Mark, you're up for election next. I'm going for you. And I'm going to flip this council. I'm going to run as a Republican, because I know that's what you are. And the two Democrats need an ally. I'll be that ally. And then when I do, everything I can to ensure that this company is not able to operate and then he turns to solvency. I'm going to have the EPA so far up their butt. I'm going to fund them. I'm going to tax them to hell and make sure that this deal goes to hell. So that's it. That's it for me.
HILL.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to start with something right off the Lower Saucon Township website. It says, the township is known for pastoral farmlands, tranquil woodlands, and gently rolling hills. That's what we want to be known for. We don't want to be known for a big landfill. Our township has a history of tough environmental standards, but members of this council seem to disregard all environmental concerns and have even modified our township code to simplify the landfill's expansion process in a watershed area, an important natural resource. So why this double standard? Council members Bananas, Yerger, and Carochi should recuse themselves from all matters pertaining to the landfill, including the request for expansion that would desecrate an area of woods and fields currently in a conservation easement. It's been all over the news that the landfill's parent company funded a PAC that contributed $75,000 to the Bananas Carochi's Evaki campaign. It's also been widely reported that Sandra Yerger and her colleagues' campaign received over $146,000 in the relatively same manner. The landfill has indirectly funded enormous sums of money, much more than individuals can afford, to donate to campaigns. It wouldn't surprise me at all if these council members felt a heartfelt sense of loyalty to the landfill. Our council president, Jason Bananas, practices law for a firm called Marshall Dehaney. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, but according to its website, Mr. Bananas is a shareholder in the firm. The firm represented defendants in a 2006 wrongful death case called Wilson versus IEISI New York in U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Pennsylvania. IESI New York is a sister company of IESI Bethlehem. On its website, Marshall Dehaney describes its environmental and toxic tort practice group as having long been one of the most active, and I'm quoting here, active practice groups in its litigation endeavors in the states of Pennsylvania, Florida, etc. The website also says that Marshall Dehaney's toxic tort litigation attorneys have handled numerous environmental matters. They have represented a great number of clients in litigation arising out of Superfund landfill cleanups, private cost recovery actions, soil or groundwater contamination, drinking water contamination, and so forth. So I ask you again,
I don't
why do we have...
Your 3 minutes are up, but if you could wrap up this idea, we have other people that need to speak, okay?
Again, I'm just asking, why do we have this double standard in this township? Thank you.
Thank you. C-E-L-E-R. Claire Sadler.
Good evening. I'm Claire Sadler. I'm the Executive Director of the Delaware-Lehigh National Heritage Corridor. And our organization is directly named in point 6 and point 8.
Let me interrupt you for a second. Are you a resident or taxpayer of Lower Saucon Township?
Not.
Okay. So,
We are directly named in the easements.
okay. Are you a resident or taxpayer of Lower Saucon Township?
I'm not, but I'd be happy to let one of our other employees who is speak.
Okay, thank you.
She's already on the list. Yeah. packet a written statement that our executive director
Call yourself, please.
Brittany Condravy.
Reset that clock.
I stopped it. Brittany Condravy,
Okay.
2022 Springtown Hill Road,
Okay.
Lower Saucon resident. I'm also the conservation coordinator at the Delaware and Lehigh National Heritage Corridor.
Hold on one second. Reset the clock, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Our organization is directly named in point 6 and point 8 of both conservation easements for the two parcels in question. We have been contacted by Lower Saucon Township residents and multiple regional partners related to our standing as a party cited in the easements. I am here to express our objection to reducing the zoning requirements, granting the landfill designation as conditional use, and weakening the conservation protections placed on these important parcels. The Delaware and Lehigh National Heritage Corridor was designated by the United States Congress in 1988 under President Reagan to preserve, protect, and celebrate the nationally significant industrial heritage of our 5-county region, Fox, Northampton, Lehigh, Carbon, Missouri. This is our 35th year making connections focused around our 4 pillars of the mission that include industrial heritage, nature and environment, health and wellness, and economic development. We believe considering either of these parcels for landfill expansion in any capacity is a mistake for the whole region and generations to come. We specifically feel this would go against each pillar of our mission for the following reasons. Industrial heritage. The Reddington Historic District within the list land area supported the workforce of the coal-burning furnace in the 1800s before Bethlehem Steel used it as armaments testing area and shell filling plant through World War I and held rail lines servicing the area, all related to the strong industrial heritage of this region. 2. This land is within the viewshed of the D&L Trail built along the former Lehigh Navigation towpath following the historic paths of canals and railroads from Wilkes-Barre to Bristol. As far as nature and the environment goes, clearing the steep wooded slopes leading to the Lehigh River would be detrimental to the entire watershed and river corridor that many generations have worked hard to clean up since our society degraded it with their prior industries. We must learn from our mistakes and be sure to balance the environmental and economic benefits. These parcels make one of the largest continuous wooded areas adjacent to the Lehigh River, and we cannot get something like that back. Health and wellness, yes, we all need an area to put our trash and we should all be working harder to reduce it, but the recreation benefits of getting in nature, of having good air quality, good water quality, are all critical to maintaining the health of our population. Expanding this landfill and taking on a majority of trash from out of state is detrimental to the open space and our community. The D&L Trail is well on its way to being the longest multi-use trail in Pennsylvania, longer than the Great Allegheny Passage, and it can bring in tremendous economic growth for small business, hospitality outfitters, and retailers. We are discussing clearing wooded area within the viewshed of the trails that goes through Bethlehem and Freemansburg and expanding the landfill. So we ask that you highly consider what you're doing, because if we use up this land, we don't get it back. And as you can see, there are multiple ways that we already benefit from this land and that generations can continue to do so. Thank you. Thank you.
I can't believe I'm here again. And I will be here for every meeting until this dump is dumped. The ink barely even dried from our last council meeting. And I remember Lynn saying, this is just a preliminary hearing, it's going to take a long time. And to my surprise, what's on the agenda tonight? Said hearing for a conditional use application for the dump. Wow. You guys really act quick. You might even get a bonus from the dump to get this pushed through as quickly as you guys are. My door is still open for you guys to come tell me why this dump is good for our community. Because clearly everybody in this room and others who probably couldn't make it tonight feel the dump is not any good for anybody here. The only person that benefits, or the only outfit that benefits, is this out-of-state corporation, which we've been hosting this dump for way too many years. So for the life of me, I'm still shocked why we want this dump expansion. This is just mind-blowing. I don't know if anybody here understands what the purpose of this
So
actually
you
is.
speak in the microphone so the crowd can hear.
I want to know, does anybody in this room understand and can explain to me why this dump is good for us? I say we put this up for a referendum. I said this last time.
Excuse me, does us include them?
Sir, this is his opportunity, he has the floor.
He asked a question, it's his time.
Nobody clearly wants this, Jason, Sandra, Mark, and Tom, because I know Priscilla doesn't want it. So you guys are human beings, you guys have families in this community. What is the purpose? Please try to explain it to me. You know, my door's open, I invite every one of you guys to come to my house, I'll give you a damn beer if you need it. But I just want to get an understanding, what is the purpose of this dump expansion? It is just mind-boggling. You know, the DNL just got a couple $1 million in the Lehigh Valley to connect the trail. And it's going to go right through this area. I've already contacted Representative McNeil about this. Their office wasn't even aware, and she was instrumental in getting all this money to connect the DNLs throughout the Lehigh Valley. Is this what we want, is people coming through the Lehigh Valley and smelling that crap? I should say the dump? This makes absolutely no sense. I can't for the life of me understand what is going on here and what's going on behind the scenes that you guys are all involved in potentially. I don't know. I'm just speculating and I have nothing to prove any of that. But on the surface, there's no reason why I could see this dump expand. It just makes absolutely no sense.
Thank you. Thank you. Jackie, come on up.
Yep, Jackie Plumbo, 2566 Kings Mill Road. I'd like to thank all my fellow citizens for coming out here. Obviously, we are against dump expansion. Against. That means no. I didn't vote for you, fair enough, but some people here did. But I'm betting they're not going to be voting for the dump expansion. Even though they voted for you, you may think it's a good idea, but you're their voice. And they're saying no. You're supposed to uphold what your community wants. Not what you want, what they want. It's a democracy. You don't just get to make the rules and decide what's going to be good for us when you have a whole room of people saying we don't want it. You can change course. You can just throw away that last vote that you had and just abandon this whole idea of expanding the dump, and that'll be it. Or you can just follow through with it and just keep on going. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out what I need to do. Because if you're not promoting the will of the people, I'm going to find out how to get you out of that chair. And put someone in there who will vote the will of the people. Because you are not doing that. You are, from what I can understand about democracy, you're not even listening to us. You're not even listening. Right now, you're probably just sitting there thinking what you're going to do tomorrow. But I'll tell you what I'll be doing tomorrow. I'll be looking for a way to talk to Mr. Shapiro. He just got in yesterday, so I'm not going to go there right away. But I'm going to talk to the governor. I'm going to talk to the new AG when she or she gets appointed. And I'm going to put all this out in front of them and say, this is how our elected officials are treating our community. And I'll see what they have to say and what other people have to say. So either you can abandon this and just change your mind, do the right thing, what everybody wants, or we can find out what happens. That is up to you.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Kurt Balch from Reddington Road, and well, I'm sorry to see you all again here. It looks like in spite of the holiday spirit and 100 or so pleas, your hearts failed to grow 3 sizes that day. So, to sway your votes against approving this conditional use change to landfill, I'm going to forego any further pleas to your compassion and attempt to appeal to your pride instead. As you may recall, Jason, Tom, I voted for you. My apologies, I was under the impression that you're Republicans. But I expect a decent Republican to have at least some passing understanding of the art of the deal. Might have heard of it, it was a book supposedly written by a former president. Sold a lot of copies. But you see, the art of the deal demands that if you want something, it's essential to figure out what your prospect really, really wants. and convince them that you can give it to them. So I assume that for Waste Connections to get you to actually break down legislative barriers to this landfill expansion, all in the face of massive opposition from your constituents, that you must have gotten something really, really good for this township. Something huge that this township really, really wanted. I thought maybe you got an agreement to a tenfold increase on tax revenue on landfill-zoned property. Maybe you got Waste Connections to agree to funding a stadium, parks, and playgrounds for the schools. Maybe you got them to pull those big Texas strings to bulldoze down the vacant neighbor's garden center and put up a Trader Joe's. I think most of us would get behind that. But then I realized, no, I bet what you did was you negotiated a massive expansion and improvement of the Hellertown area library. Oh my God, I bet that wasn't it. Sorry. Well, I guess wasn't any of those, but from what I can tell, you didn't negotiate for anything. From what I can tell, Waste Connections came in here with their big ask for 275 protected wooded acres leading to the banks of the Lehigh River, and instead of squeezing them for every promise and penny that was possible, using the leverage that your voters have given you, we're just going to stand here today and let you rail roughshod over expanding conditional use landfill over 275 beautiful acres. Is this what we get for sending lawyers instead of a salesman to do the job? Like, you know, in all fairness though, maybe you did negotiate for what you really, really wanted. And you got it. But what you really, really wanted, you can't tell us. Because what you really, really wanted was never for any of us. Thank you for your time.
If anybody can't hear, please raise your hand.
Yeah, we need to hear him speak louder.
Yeah, him.
Yeah. Laura, Laura, Laura.
Well, everybody's covering the landfill, so I'm hitting all the other crap. Okay, so financial investment policy update. So given the fact that I no longer have any degree of confidence that the majority on council act on behalf of the best interests of residents, I have to question everything. Who will truly benefit from an agreement with Great Eastern Management? Does somebody up there have a connection with them? The memo dated January 12th states the firm has the ability to research banks for multiple areas that we do not have access to in order to secure the highest interest rate. It noted rates as high as 4.9%. With a simple Google search the other day, I found that same 4.9% at a bank that was FDIC, and it also had their stability rating. For Act 72 compliance, public depositors can and should request monthly reports on each institution's collateral status. So that sounds like something easy enough for a finance director to do. Is it worth it to pay a fee to have an outside firm do this for Lower Saucon? 0.15% sounds small, but on very large investment, it adds up to a lot of money. The policy would also increase maximum terms on CDs to 5 years. It doesn't list what percentage that we would put at that term, though. That was missing. Current policy has 20% at 6%, 40% at 1 year, and 40% at 2 years. So what would the new breakdown be? That wasn't shown in the policy. Have you all read the details, and will you ask any questions before you vote on this? In the financial reports, I noted that there was another $18,311.61 for Eckert, Siemens, and Sharon in December for unnecessary legal battle with OCL. And then regarding the designation of the EAC chairman, I'm going to say I went through several years. I don't see that we approved the chair the last 2 years. It hasn't been since 2020 when this actually happened. And it wasn't a separate agenda item. It was actually done under manager's report and approved. Seems like spiking it as a separate agenda item is very suspect to me. When we had our meeting and voted to change chairs, it was such a big ordeal that it really shouldn't have been. Other boards change their chairs all the time. It's a normal thing. I expect our chair to be approved, and if not, I would love to hear the reasons from you if you're voting no.
Thank you. Next is CICCARELLO.
Yeah, my name is Michael Chicarello, CICCARELLO. I live off of Quarry Lane, and I have well water. Okay, Waste Connections should be answering to you, not you answering to Waste Connections. They're here to make money in our community, and they're doing it inefficiently. As I stated before, on the 21st, they could be incinerating, reducing their filth, and creating electricity and making their money off of PPL. I don't know why you haven't thought about putting any kind of restrictions on them to work with them so they're benefiting our community. Yeah. I also don't know of any tests that you've done to see where any of the aquifers actually flow underground. You know, where is all this research that has gone into your decision? You know, I would love to know that. Have you walked the ground? I bet you haven't. I don't know what else to say. If you go through with this expansion at this point without any research whatsoever, it's unethical and it's irresponsible. And you're affecting a lot of people's health with their well water. And anybody that plays games with that should be expecting a big fight.
Thank you. KELLOS, Bonnie Markellos.
Lydia Markellos, 2545 Quarry Lane. We moved here almost 3 years ago from a lot further south in the state. And we found a house that we absolutely love, and we want to stay there until we die. Now we're faced with this problem. I'd like to combine my two concerns to say that since we've moved here, I've read and heard plenty about a division that seems to be between Hellertown and the rest of the township. It's a large township. So I wonder, where does that come from? Why does it seem like Hellertown is on the back end? Why is there an issue with the compost, with the library, with the landfill? Something doesn't seem right about that. Also, I don't understand why there aren't other options for the landfill. I mean, big areas, they deal with it in different ways. They're not just scooping up a whole bunch of acres and filling it with garbage. So I really would, just as so many people have already said, that you look to find other options that would be more acceptable to the entire township. Thanks.
Thank you. SUTTON. Russ Sutton.
Yes. Hi, I'm Russ Sutton. I live at 2133 Saucon Avenue. I am definitely against this landfill expansion. When we were here before Christmas, when this occurred, I turned my back and you voted to approve it. The last time we had an expansion, it went into 5 or 6 meetings before that happened. It didn't happen in one meeting. I wonder, what is your legacy? The dump? Is that what you're going to be proud of? Lower Saucon dump? That's going to be your legacy? We used to have a good relationship with Hellertown. they were gonna join with the police force, with the fire department and everything. That's all gone. Why, I don't know. I think someone up here has an axe to grind, and I think they're using that as a platform to do it. I live in Steel City. I've been there for 36 years. We had to get city water because our water was contaminated from the dump. So what do you think larger amount of dump property is going to do to the rest of the environment, plus the Lehigh, which goes into the Delaware, and the Delaware goes into Chesapeake? You're destroying a whole ecology system. And you can see the landfill from 33. If you go out to Lowe's there, you can see that mess. You can see it from University of St. Luke's campus there. You can see it. It's a mess. It's not something you can be proud of. And your motto was low, rolling green hills. You better throw that out the window. You should make it say, come see our wonderful dump, because that's all you're going to be remembered for. And when I was here last, 100 people came up here and told you no. 100 people said no. And what did you do? Vote for it. And we can't ask you questions, which to me makes this an autocracy, not a democracy. We should know why you voted for this damn dump. It should be a secret. It should be out in the open, because this is a democracy, not an autocracy. And I don't understand this. And there's been no environmental studies on this land or its impact to the area and what it's going to do, and for health people as well. But most of you up there don't even pay attention when we're talking. So I'm just saying, you should be ashamed to pass this, and your legacy is just going to be a dump.
Thank you. ZAGWOSK.
Hi, my name's Walter Zagroski, live in Steel City. One of the things that's been irritating me since I've been coming to these meetings, which I didn't realize, that the dumps 1 million gallons of sludge water into the city sewer system. I pass the sewer system every day. I could put something in a bucket and throw it over the hill, and we're not connected to that. But we're gonna process millions of gallons of sewer water that they can't handle that type of material just going into the river, contaminating the river. Up until about 8 years ago, Steel City property values started going back up because the dump was closing. You know, our property values were high. Now they're starting to go into the toilet. I can't even go in the toilet, you know, it doesn't even go over there. Our taxes we're going to go down and we get our houses reassessed. If my property, I got a beautiful property, it's worth a lot. But if this starts going downhill, I'm not paying taxes. I'm going to say, this property's worth zero. My property's worth zero, I can't sell it. You can't sell a property because the dump is under your backyard and it's getting bigger and bigger, it's just a monster growing. You know, you guys got to come out and look, you know, and see what we have. You're going to wreck our town. You're going to wreck Steel City. You know, it's not going to be a town. It's going to be a dump too, because nobody's going to want to live there. You know, you can't sell a house if it's connected to the backyard, it's connected to the dump. All these people on Reddington Road, they got beautiful properties. They're not going to buy to sell their properties. You're not going to get no value for it. You know, no value. We were just getting our value back because the dump was closing. People were coming in from New York and New Jersey to buy our houses because it's nice there. Our community is nice. But it's not going to be nice when the dump's right in our backyard, making a bigger mountain than what we got now. We were happy it was closing in 8 years. You gave us a break. I lived there 43 years, I had to put up with them. And they were closing within 8 years ago. We decided we're going to run about 8 years and close. Great, great. Now you guys just wrecked everything again. Starting over, starting at zero. It's going to take them another 100 years to fill that dump. Not going to get full right away. That's going to be there for 100 years till I fill that up. Our property values are going to drop as soon as they start cutting them trees down. And I guarantee I'm not the only person that's going to go down there and change our tax property assessments. Everybody in Steel City, everybody that's concerned about this dump, you're not going to pay $20,000 on property tax and have to look across the road and see a dump. You're not even going to sell nobody's house over here. It's insane. You guys got to look at what we got to put up with. All you worry about what's over here, you don't worry about what's in the rest of the township. And it started to come back, our areas came back. These people, we spent tons of money on our house, an 1800-year-old house. They fixed it up, they wanted to make the area nice. They knew the dump was closing, you guys wrecked everybody's dream. You wrecked everybody's dream by doing it. And you didn't even get anything out of it. At least get us hooked up to the sewer, maybe we'll have some value.
Here, consider, if you just wrap up that idea.
Thank you.
Kyle Cambiati. I am Kyle Cambiati. I live at 4284 Matthews Avenue, and that's located also in Steel City. So where do I begin? My great-grandfather came from Italy to Steel City in 1920, and we never left. I'm the fourth generation in that town. I just recently bought my house a year ago. Now I'm faced with this, and then I bought a piece of property that means a lot to me, also in Steel City, right next to the hill climb. And there are specific people that are buried there. And you're going to throw that away. So I understand that you guys that the dump wants to make money. They're a business, just like any business people are. Okay? But my only question for you, what's in it for you? And are you going to make the right decision for me and my community to make it a better place for your children? And perhaps one day I might have kids, and I want to raise them in Steel City. And I won't ever get to do that. And now I won't have any money. Thank you. Thank you. One more time, Diane Hollowell.
Hi, Diane Hollowell. Tonight I want to talk to you about your senses, specifically your sight, your hearing, and smell. And I'm only directing this at the council members who are so eager to expand this landfill. In December, I sat through a meeting where over 100 township residents pleaded with you to oppose taking 275 acres of land. I am assuming you did not hear them, and I did enjoy the residents who expressed their dismay in voting for you. At that same meeting, and I see it here now, I see it, huge displays of photos of the beautiful land that you want to make into a garbage dump. Apparently, you did not see them. Now let's talk about your sense of smell. I cringed when I heard a mother talk about her daughter not being able to enjoy their pool because the smell was so bad. And I read the Hanover engineering report on the inspection conducted on the landfill on January 5th. They reported wastewater odor and gas odor. And I figure the only way to appeal to you is through your sense of smell. So everybody in this audience, the next time you come to these meetings, do a workout, don't put deodorant on, and let's make them smell it. I do not understand what your incentive is for this stuff. Like, what are you personally getting out of this? Because you are not listening to anybody who comes up here to speak.
Mark Ozimek, O-Z-I-M-E-K.
Mark Ozimek, Reddington Road, Lower Town, PA. And ask for a moment of silence. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the power, the glory, and the kingdom of God, forever and ever. Amen. There's several phrases within the Bible that I do not study that say you are not to pollute the earth. When you spill blood on the earth, you pollute it. And it will be resolved by the spilling of your blood on the same earth. I forgot interrupted you. See? Reading from somebody. Be the best you can be and use your talents to have positive impact on others. Jump in and put experience, good sense, and expertise back to work. Get what you want. Make the world a better place for yourself. That includes you too. And then it will be a better place for others, all of us. Otherwise, we're doomed to continue living in a world where the richest and not necessarily the most honest and selfless rise to the top of the power heap. Do you know somebody with an untapped mountain of potential and strength? If only we could see the same potential in ourselves as we see in us. If only we could swap brains and vantage points and see ourselves through the eyes of those who admire us. We would ride through life walking taller with more confidence in our actions, our ideas, and ourselves. During the 50s and 60s, America was more of a nation of joiners than it is now. There was an abundance of hot rod, motorcycle clubs, social clubs, bowling leagues, various kinds of special interest clubs, lodges, fraternities, sororities, sporting teams, charitable groups, church and religious groups, business associates, peoples have all joined and belong to such groups. Now everything is far more specialized and suited for one individual. That is from deceased Sonny Barger, the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. And to have various other sayings that could be used. But between the Bible and common sense, this dump doesn't need to expand. Lastly, one more thing.
Just need to wrap up this lot.
When I went down Apple Butter Road at 8:30 yesterday morning to go to work, it was like driving through a dust cloud at the bend where they're putting the gas pump up. And if I got it on film, I'll put it on YouTube, and I'll show you the dust cloud, and it smelled like driving through a cloud of garbage.
Okay, thank you.
They can't take care of what they got now.
Okay, thank you. Nice to see you.
Sadie McCowan, 2166 Whistler Avenue. Less than a month ago, after the zoning change of the land adjacent to the landfill, which also happens to be owned by the landfill, we find that there is a conditional use application by the Bethlehem landfill for a hearing date on tonight's agenda. I was able to review that document online and saw that it was submitted on January 6th of 2023. The application alone is 68 pages long. It seems to me that this document was prepared and ready and waiting at the time that the landfill zoning change was approved. In that same meeting on 2021, Mr. Treadwell was explaining the zoning change of the property adjacent to the landfill. He claimed, and I quote, "The proposed change from RA to LI would permit any property owner to propose improvements and/or developments of those parcels in the LI district in accordance with the township's current LI district regulations." We've heard some comments that this is solely about the landfill. It is not. And in answering Mr. Inglis's query, all we're talking about is the zoning, correct? Mr. Treadwell replied, as he said before, and this is quoted from the minutes, "It is not about the landfill expansion. He knows that it's going to get a large response from the crowd. Technically, it is not. This ordinance happens, the landfill can submit an application to expand, but this is not the expansion itself." Did Mr. Inglis believe that voting his approval, knowing that this was not about the landfill, well, he may be naive enough to believe that it was not about the landfill expansion, but the rest of us were not fooled. Since the landfill owns the land, hello, what else was the landfill going to do with it? Were they going to build a theme park for all of the Lower Saucon residents to enjoy? I think not. The landfill's intention is to decimate this natural area, producing contamination and ugliness in its waste. Again, this decision is far bigger than the 5 council members. It has far-reaching and long-term effects. Once those trees are cut, there's no getting them back in our lifetime. Council needs to provide environmental and economic studies conducted by independent, non-partial experts for us to review. I can see that this council is determined to steamroll and use everything in its power to get this expansion through before the council loses its majority.
List is a cave up O period C period, a cave up O period C period. One more time, the cave up O period C period. All right, next is Amber Pillows.
Excuse me, could you turn the mic up?
Can't hear
You
you.
can't hear off either. We can't hear anything.
I'm just being polite to the people that have small children and trying to get home. I appreciate you letting me come up here when my name was called during the audience applause. First and foremost, I agree with what everybody has said here tonight, indicating that you sat here on December 21st planning
And
to
you
have.
identify yourself because I didn't read your name because it wasn't listed.
That's all right, we can start over. We can start the clock over because you
Sure,
didn't get
just
my
so you
name.
identify yourself for the record, please.
Can we start the clock over?
As soon as you identify yourself for the record, we can.
Victoria Aptoff Cordaro.
Thank you.
I agree with all the residents that have spoken thus far and indicated what a travesty this is, that you came before us on December 21st and told us this was a long process. Don't worry, it's not about the landfill. We have to do this because we might get sued. Uh-oh. And here we are, I don't know, less than 30 days later, and we're faced with a conditional use application by none other than, oh no, it's the landfill. The landfill came. They did exactly what we told you they were going to do and what exactly you knew they were going to do. I think it's disgusting that we've been having this on the agenda tonight. There are not one, but there are 2 appeals pending that challenge the validity of that zoning. You all are aware of them. They were served upon you. And to come here tonight and try to, again, to quote somebody else who had some eloquent words, steamroll this through, tells us that there's no other agenda for us. This is an agenda for the landfill. I'd like to see the environmental study, the economic study, the land study, the water study, the air study. There's a million different studies that you should have done before you even considered rezoning that property. Before you even did that. That would at least show some integrity. But we haven't done that. Instead, we've said, we're not here for the landfill, we're not here for the landfill. But guess what? We're all here for the landfill because of the landfill. So I implore you that you do your jobs for the residents of the township, for the taxpayers that can only speak here because, God forbid, the DNL, who has standing, can't speak because you've changed our right to speak and our First Amendment rights because you don't want to hear what we have to say. So I implore you to please, please unplug your ears, open your noses, drive by the landfill, open your eyes to these people, and do what we people elected you to do. I didn't vote for you, you all know that, the ones that are for the landfill right now. But you still owe it to these people who did vote for you. Thank you.
Thank you. L S.
Good evening, my name is Amber Paulos. I live at 2596 Reddington Road. I'm here because I oppose the approval of the conditional use application for the Bethlehem landfill. I'm also here because on December 21st, I also opposed the rezoning from rural agricultural to light industrial. Don't have a speech in front of me, just gonna talk to you guys as a resident, a fairly fresh resident of Lower Saucon Township. A little bit about me and my family. We quite literally just spent the last 2 years going through permitting and approvals with Lower Saucon Township to have our house built at 2596 Reddington Road. Funny enough, thousands of dollars of our hard-earned money is still being held hostage by Lower Saucon Township until we can get 20%, 30% more grass coverage. So we need the minimum 70% grass coverage on our 2.2 acres of property in order to get our CO. That just boggles my mind because here we are and we're talking about decimating hundreds of acres of forest land to look like what you see in the bottom left-hand corner that Russ took images of. Russ, yes. I may not know everyone here. Like I said, we're fairly new to the township. I cannot speak for them, but I do speak for myself, my husband. I have a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old. We went through this process because of our dreams for our boys. We bought that land because we fell in love with the beauty that surrounded it. We fell in love with the idea that it was zoned rural agricultural because to us, that meant that our children's futures would be preserved. That is gone as of December 21st. So how can I not stand here and oppose the Bethlehem landfill expansion? And I understand that the code of conduct says that the township council members do not need to engage in dialogue, but I also believe that that is what a democracy is about, having a dialogue. And all that I've heard from December 21st and now is citizens opposing this, and I have not heard the dialogue back from the council members as to why this is beneficial to our township. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer Helton, HELTON.
Jennifer Helton, Saucon, Jake's Place in Hellertown, sorry. I'm a little nervous, but I'm here just to speak about the ECA designation for the chairmanship. I want to make sure that you all understand that we voted after a long discussion about who should chair the EAC. Drew Germanowski, who was here, has been on the board for years, and he has knowledge of the environmental, not only environmentally, but geology, hydrology, and his expertise is exactly the leadership we need on the EAC at this time. I also would like to make note that the EAC is a non-political committee. We are not, we make sound, environmental sound decisions based on facts, and we consider the community's welfare. And I'd like to say, Tom, that's very disrespectful. And in addition, I would like to ask that you do not set a date for the conditional use application CE1023 for the Bethlehem landfill. And it is pending lawsuits concerning that we filed on Friday and Tuesday of this week. Thank you.
Thank you.
How do you do, everyone? I just wanted to make a quick speech. I'm a resident, my name is Zachary Thomas. I live at 2136 Johnson Avenue, Sioux City, Bethlehem, PA.
Talking to the mic.
I live at 2136 Johnson Avenue, Bethlehem, PA. I'm third generation Sioux City. My dad grew up there, I grew up there. I just want to take a quick step back and say, take a deep breath. You smell this? It smells good like good air. I woke up this morning at 5:30 a.m. I woke up, go to work, and I walk out my front door and I smell trash. I smell dump. I can really take a deep breath. So I'm also speaking on behalf of my father, my mother, and his father was always against the dump, and they can't be here right now because of health reasons. But basically, I oppose the dump, and I would like to know what you think is the greater good for the dump. If it's build our pad for your future, my future, everybody else's future, and as we the people, as what I'm here to speak for. And hopefully I was able to get my point across, and thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Blasko, B-L-A-S-K-O, Al Blasko.
You already told me I couldn't do it.
This is the version. All right. Next is George Petrie. Ginger Petrie.
I have been called George before.
I could read the handwriting.
As a matter of fact, when I put hay in a contest one time, I decided that since my name was Ginger Petrie, 2626 Reddington Road, by the way, that I would be held in a different place because I wasn't a man making the hay. So I called myself George Petrie, just so you know. That was perfect. I already told you my name, I already told you where I live. And I am next to the proposed dump. And I have a little thing written because I get so emotional that I have to try to stay focused. But before I get into the little bit I want to say, there was a young woman that just spoke, her Payless. And when I showed her the property that she purchased from us, I was really proud. And there's beautiful fields behind her house and behind my sister's house. And we put that in open space for a reason. Now, I'm going to get to the point of what I oppose, which is why I'm allowed to stand here. But we put that land because we were proud to be in the township. We were proud of where we live. We're proud of the animals, the topography, everything. We have fields, we have streams, we have trees, we have animals, plenty. And our property parallels what's now going to be the dump. Now that area we were proud of. That has history. It was the proving grounds. We have the cliffs. It has a steep slope. And then all of a sudden now, bigger and bigger and bigger, when we stand anywhere we go, all we see is the dump across the top. I promised Amber that we would have these beautiful fields staying. And if we're going to get to the point in this, where now we're going to do away with the conservation easements on this property. That's next. I'll get to the point in a second. But when you get to that, I would like all of you to think about how I had to prove to you that we were going to be great caretakers of our property. And we were going to keep it beautiful, and we were going to make it beautiful again. And we have worked very hard to do that, and we're proud of that. And we're proud to share it with people, and we're glad if anybody wants to come on our property. Somebody like Drew, who's an expert in environment, Sandy, Priscilla, you've all been there, and you know how many different animals and plants are there. Listening to Amber talk, it makes me look like a liar if I can't represent what I was supposed to represent on this property and this township and be proud. And I've always been proud. Okay, I'm going to just say this. For the record, I don't know what time I have. Oh, nothing left. I wish I were Luke Bryan up here. Maybe he wouldn't have to walk away. And I could do that song that says, buy dirt. Oh, right, landfill dirt. I might as well give up my time.
H-E-R-T-N-E-T-T, Pam Hartnett.
Hello, Karen Hartnett, 4210 Lower Saucon Road. Sorry, Ginger, I'm not going to be as illustrious as you. So obviously, I'm here about the landfill. I'm here about a couple of things. One thing I've noticed in following all of the documents that we post online is I'm very concerned about the financial responsibility of this council to the township. I've heard we're afraid of getting sued, we want to be financially responsible, and I agree with being financially responsible, but right now, I'm not really seeing that in action. We're battling our local library, we're now spending more money to send money outside of the township, outside of the county lines. We're quarreling over essentially a compost recycling center, which is a good thing to have, but yet we're very easy to say, oh my gosh, we need that $2 million from the landfill. But we don't. But now we might, because we can't get out of suing our local community partners instead of truly partnering with them and being adults and working this out and doing the right thing for our local community. Right. I can't figure out where the financial responsibility truly is and why we're not taking a deep hard look at that. We have financial experts in this room. We've got lawyers here. We should not be afraid of getting sued or getting bullied around by a landfill if we're that tough. And I think we are. So let's not get bullied by a landfill. Let's figure out how to make reparations with our local community. These kids share schools. We need to be good role models for the next generation. And right now, I don't think we're doing the best that we could be doing. That's all I have to say, and thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the public comment agenda items only. We'll move on to presentations, hearings, ordinances, resolutions. What we have first is proposed ordinance 2023-02, which is the 412 area zoning map amendments.
I'll do it. Stacy, can you put the map up, please? It's the second one. Yep, that one. Thank you. Okay, so what you have in front of you tonight and what's in your packet is proposed ordinance 2023-02. This is a zoning map proposed zoning map amendment only. No text amendment, it's just a proposed map amendment. The area that you see up on the screen is just outside of Helletown on Route 412. It's in the area of the giant shopping center. And the proposal set forth in this ordinance is to change the area that you now see up there outlined in red with the white grayish type color in the middle to all general business. This is consistent with the comprehensive plan that you recently adopted. It changes a number of different parcels up and along Route 412 into GB that will allow for more commercial uses there. And it's on the agenda this evening for you to consider whether you want to authorize advertisement.
Yeah, I mean, this is something we talked about when we did the comprehensive plan. The properties that are in this area are largely commercial, very consistent with what was previously zoned. So I appreciate the solicitor and staff putting together the proposed language, and I'll make a motion to advertise proposed ordinance 2023-02, which is the 412 area zoning map amendments.
Advertise it for a public hearing.
For a public hearing, yes. Second.
Second.
I just want to say that here's an example for the residents sitting here, that this has been discussed over a period of time, probably several years. We talked about it, plan, multi-municipal comp plan was approved, and, you know, we finally got together, unlike what happened with the landfill, for example. Just want to get that in there. So.
All right, we have a motion in a second.
I'll second.
Active question or no?
Call roll.
Ms. DeLeon, how do you vote?
I will vote yes.
Mr. Angles, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Yerger, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Denonis, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Croce, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, next up is developer items. We have,
Are we going to set a date, or who's going to set the date?
No, we need to send it out to the LBPC and our planning commission for review, so it will probably be sometime in March.
We did not do that for the landfill. We voted on it that same night, and you said, I am talking.
So you don't have the floor.
I do
You don't have the floor because I'm calling the next agenda item and we're done discussing that item. So that item is done, we're moving on.
And you be rude and show everybody that you're rude.
Like I said, the next item we have is Smoothport Phase 2, 700 Linden Avenue, extension request to complete conditions of approval for the land development.
Excuse me,
Could you
repeat that? I couldn't understand a single word.
Yeah, speak into the microphone.
Developer item for the third time, developer item, Steel Club Phase 2, 700 Linden Avenue, extension request to complete conditions of approval for the land development.
You sound like the guy at the end of the auto commercial.
Sir.
Talking so fast. I can't understand you.
Sir, you don't have the floor. I haven't read.
Am I the only one that can?
Sir, You can't just interrupt the meeting, okay? This is our business meeting, sir, okay?
If it's a business meeting, we need to hear and understand you.
And I believe the public has, I've now said it 3 times. Link, do you want to speak to this item?
Sure, I mean, this is a submission from the Silverland LLC, it came from their attorney, Mr. Preston, and they're working to complete the conditions of approval, and they're asking for an extension of the deadline to complete those conditions through January 31st, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the request for the Steel Club for an extension through January 31st, 2024, to complete the conditions of approval associated with the land development. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Engels, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Yerger, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Benonis, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Croce, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. DeLeon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, next up are the township business items. First item we have is authorization for payment release number 4, final Tedesco for Lower Saucon Road culvert replacement project.
Yes, the Lower Saucon Road culvert was replaced and opened. We now have a final payment request that was approved by the engineer for $20,606.24.
I'll make a motion to approve payment number 4 to Tedesco in the amount of $20,606.24 for the work done on the Lower Saucon Road culvert project.
Also,
Ms. Yerger, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Benonis, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Croce?
yes.
Ms. DeLeon?
Yes.
Mr. Engels?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next we have financial investment policy update. This is to modify the budget investment policy to allow the township to purchase CDs with longer timeframes up to 5 years. Kathy, you want to speak to this?
Sure. We're requesting council to update the investment policy that was passed in, I believe, 2015.
They've been here a long time, I don't know, you tell me, you're the one that works here.
You were on the committee with me, that's
Yeah, I know, but you work here.
The policy stipulates that it's investment from 6 months to 2 years. We're requesting to extend that to a 5-year investment policy, considering we have significant reserves in the open space fund and items like that. We would like to maximize the most interest we can get. Currently, the interest rates are higher at a shorter term because of the variability of the interest rates for the feds. But we'd like to be prepared for, if it does go down a little bit, that we would have more leeway and options of extending the terms of any kind of CD purchase.
Hey Kathy, didn't I read somewhere that there was a recommendation in one of the financial report that somebody suggested we do this?
We had discussed this, I think, at reorg, when we
And
had.
then you appointed the firm from prior to that.
The auditors.
The auditors.
Oh, the auditors, yeah.
Yeah, so if I pull up, I don't know, I'm hooked up to the internet, where could you guide me to the page? Like, what did it say in the auditor's report? Because I looked through it today and I couldn't find anything.
I don't know the page, it's usually an itemization on there that does say, that we have CDs purchased and they're secured, and the other assets we have are secured by Act
Can
72.
they pull it up on the internet? Can you do that? Go to our it's on the internet. Can you pull that up? Because that would be 2021 report?
It would be in almost every audit report that we have, where we have.
It would be the
Pull up the
finance.
last audit report.
Because when I was looking, I don't think you have them all up there either. Click on the financial reports. We're
Audit
missing,
reports we have from,
we're missing 20.
well, we are just finishing our audit for 2022, but haven't done the report yet.
Right, we'll get that in what, June or July?
June or July.
So,
It's probably closer to page 45, Stacy, if I'm not mistaken. I'm really not sure as to what page it is. I can refer to you. to do that a later.
I just want to know why it took this long to bring it to our attention, if we got the report.
No, it's not a major issue of sorts. So we've discussed it with our auditors, and we are covered under Act 72 with the funds we have. But if we do go outside the state of Pennsylvania, which would be required to get better CD rates, that would be an option, that we would need to extend it for a 5-year term and also address any of the Act 72 and the FDIC requirements for the $250,000
So you can't tell me on what page that was written. That's it.
I think Sherry said no. She said she can get that information to you later.
I mean, I can get that to you tomorrow.
Right, but the vote is tonight.
So I'll make a motion to approve modifying the township investment policy to allow the township to purchase CDs for up to a 5-year time frame.
It would really be helpful for you to ask for additional comments. I think Robert's rules says that, Jason. Please be a good president and run the meeting properly.
I have a second.
I'll second.
And now, is there any discussion?
Thank you. All right, motion with second.
Oh my God.
Mark, can you call the roll, please?
Another one for the record.
Mr. Benonis, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Carochi, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Leone, how do you vote?
I vote no, because I feel that the staff we have here is very capable of going online and finding the best rates we have. We do not need to pay an outside firm. I feel very strongly about that. I mean, we have all these people working here, so.
To be
so I
clear, the
vote no.
motion is to approve modifying the township investment policy to allow the township to purchase CDs for up to a 5-year time frame.
And what about the firm? Oh, that's,
All right, so you voted no.
I voted no.
Mr. Engels, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Gerber, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1.
All right, next up we have the EAC chairman designation at the January 10, 2023 EAC reorganizational meeting. The Environmental Advisory Council nominated and approved Drew Jurmanowski as the chairman. Township code requires that this comes before council. I attended that EAC meeting as well as prior EAC meetings. It was very clear to me what was going on. I'm going to make a motion to appoint Tom Carochi as the chairman of
Who do you?
Just so council's aware of it, we the people disagree with your opinion.
Folks, you don't have the floor. I haven't recognized you. Please don't have any outbursts so we can conduct our meeting.
Take a look in the mirror.
You're showing up.
Mr. Carochi, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Leone, how do you vote?
Absolutely not. I support Drew Jurmanowski for this appointment. This is an outrage.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what was going on that you saw?
Mr. Engels, how do you vote?
Yes.
What the hell, Mark? Get your head out of your ass. Dad throw me out. It's the same shit every goddamn month here.
Getting worse.
I don't know if you heard it.
How much
Mr.
money
Gerber, how
are
do
you
you
making?
vote?
No.
Mr. Benonis, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-2.
3-2. Isn't that amazing? You know,
Thank you, landfill, Keisha.
on EAC, well,
Hey, you gotta treat all of us the same.
I had to move on to the next agenda.
Oh, come on, Jason. You are doing this in front of so many people. You
So,
don't fool the people some of the time.
I was all at the meeting as well, and
Please speak into the microphone.
I really feel bad.
We want to hear you.
EAC needs.
Microphones.
Yeah, right. So, obviously, I attended the meeting too, and I saw what was happening too. It's become political. And,
You made it.
you know, the secretary of the EAC removed the manager from the EAC email chain, and the email dated November
4th.
I was
believe.
asking our chair.
Ma'am,
item
yeah,
to
we
be
can
on our
recognize,
agenda.
ma'am, please don't interrupt. me.
November 4th of 2022, I think that email, do we have that email? I asked the counselor, the township to have it ready. She removed the township manager, the secretary, Laura Ray, removed the township manager. Who did? Laura Ray, the secretary of the
My email, I didn't
EAC,
remove anybody.
removed the township manager and myself from an EAC email chain, that information that should have gone to everybody. And it's that kind of stuff that's happening with EAC and the people that kind of want to run it. To me, it's unprofessional. There's absolutely no integrity in it.
Look in the mirror.
Watch that video of you.
So there's, I think, one of the things I would like to see is that we, the EAC gets back to its purpose. And I'm hoping I can promote this. So it gets back to its purpose of discussing environmental issues that face the township, and to do public education, research, promotional programs, everything that it did at one time, and I want to get it focused on that. So one of the things I would like Mark and Link to look into is how we can get them back into that, but also. It seems to be too much for them. I think I'd like to see what options we have for spinning off the open space. So creating an open space committee, what that would entail. That would be a separate committee from the EAC. That would be a separate committee from the EAC that would just simply identify potential open space for either purchase or preservation, would score that property, and then make a recommendation to council, as to whether council should purchase it or possibly preserve it. And that would be separate from the EAC. So I really just want to ask council to direct Mark and Mike to look into that, what that would entail, and report back to us. So I'm not asking for anything.
Are you making that as a motion?
I'd like to, yeah. Yeah, I was going to make a motion.
I'll second it.
But they just look into it.
And just to be clear, Sandy, you were probably the first citizen who donated land to the township as open space, and you actually donated it.
I didn't donate it to the township. I did it even before the township had an open space program. I did my own family's property with the Heritage Conservancy.
Right. But you founded the EAC with the understanding that it's fine. I'm not.
Well, no.
Please don't. With the understanding that it would be used for open space assessment, right?
Well, that was part of it. No, it wasn't the only thing.
Silly, you don't have the floor.
Really? Open space assessment was one of the things, but not all of what the EAC was proposing to do. That's all. They have a whole list of everything from environmental education to, at one point we worked with the watershed to make rain barrels and things like that, and we also did a lot of other programs in the past. So a lot of it was, it was all environmentally oriented. Native plant sales, we did things like that.
It gave away landfill. And I'm hoping that they can get back, we can get back to that. We can get back to that, the open space. Maybe supported by an open space committee. But they need to focus on these other things, electronic recycling events,
Right,
plant
that's
sales.
right, we've done that too.
That type of stuff, where I would hope to get back. And away from, some of the nonsense. I mean, there's other emails to the township council from the secretary of the EAC berating township council.
Who sent those?
Laura Ray, the
Secretary
secretary of the EAC. We have them too, if you want to.
Yeah, I'd like to see those comments. Let's do those.
Is it possible to
Can I
speak?
comment to this motion?
Of course not.
No, he still has the floor. He's just showing me how he wants to show. No, it's not.
December 24th till 1:22 in the morning on Christmas Eve. Quick rock garbage like that. So there's no, part of what the EAC is supposed to do is make recommendations to council. And here we have Secretary of the EAC who nominated Mr. Professor Drew, and, you know, put him in his chairman earlier, you know, being somewhat belligerent in emails to the council and the township manager. And we're supposed to give these recommendations credibility. So, you know, it's you know, what a crock, you know, it's BS, it makes me sick. So that's at 1:22 in the morning on Christmas Eve. And then the next one, there is your lame argument, we need to rezone 275 acres, or question marks, all this. You know, oh, you read an article in a magazine, now you're an expert. I mean, just dismissive, insulting things, show lack of integrity, lack of professionalism.
All true.
And then
First Amendment rights.
That's right. They are First Amendment rights, and then, so we have another email yet again at 1:53 in the morning, where, that's right, no one's saying that she doesn't have a right to send these, but you have to judge somebody's integrity by what they write and what they say.
Somebody else protect us, not what we're doing.
We're all doing it.
Yeah, and, so another one, you know, you're the worst, infuriating, you know, all of this. And then, Jason, you may want to talk about a post.
Yeah, I think we have to post. We go to the next page.
Yeah.
So this is a post that was sent to me on Christmas Eve. There's an account identified, I guess this was Facebook, Laura Ray, and there's a recommendation. We've redacted the home addresses here, but there was a post by her where they call it doxing. I was aware of that term, but essentially identifying us on council, our home addresses, and encouraging the public to come to our homes.
First Amendment right to come to your house.
Public to come to our homes and to protest and harass us. So, I mean, I recognize that we're not on the U.S. Supreme Court.
Thank God.
But, you know, there's still, it shows a lack of decorum, professionalism, and this is somebody who wants to be elected.
Better job than you.
That they engage in.
Kangaroo court.
So, you know, I think it just shows, you know, this is not the right person to be making decisions on the direction of EAC, and that's why I made a motion for Tom.
Could you keep that up a little, I gotta get a picture.
Will the EAC address the landfill?
He went through.
Will the EAC, under your direction, address the landfill?
Yes.
Mr. Notice, I respectfully request an opportunity to speak.
Jason, I love a good fight. I'll see you in court.
Don't forget, Tom, all your behavior was recorded.
I am so sorry. I was very embarrassed to see that Drew's name wasn't even, his last name wasn't on the agenda item. That's very poor, because he does have respect of the position that he carries. So that I wanted to say.
I would request an opportunity to just speak.
Sir, the opportunity to speak was earlier on agenda items, not
Well, I
yet.
know you work at a big shop.
No.
And the next thing I'd like to say is,
Let
you
him
just
talk.
recommended the study on all this other stuff. You didn't even do that for the library. Where was your study for the library? You guys kind of somewhere decided.
I wasn't the library liaison, I'm on the EAC.
Look, you're not getting it.
I think you should supply us with studies.
Yeah.
You should resign.
This is useless.
Just one other point as to Tom. Tom is, I believe, on the planning commission and the EAC.
Stacking the board.
EAC bylaws actually suggest that there should be a representative of the planning commission on EAC to help coordinate those efforts.
That's what we're doing.
Right, and Sandy was not, so that's why Tom makes natural sense, because he's able to be the liaison with the connection between those two organizations. All right, so the next thing we have on the agenda is approval to purchase two 2023 police vehicles. As approved in 2023 budget, the police department is requesting the township council approve the purchase of two police cars.
Yeah, we're looking to purchase two new police cars. We'd like to get our order in as soon as possible. As you know, we're having issues getting vehicles, as all townships are. Any orders that got in late February of last year were canceled. So we'd like to try to get our order in as soon as possible. So each vehicle, and this is just for the vehicle, is $40,950. So the total cost for both vehicles would be $81,900. We then would be looking to also get a quote for upfitting, which is putting the lights in, the computers in, all that kind of stuff. So this is just the vehicle cost, but we want to get this purchase order in as quickly as possible so that hopefully we get these vehicles this year. We're still waiting for the vehicles that we bought last year. We did get the vehicles, but they're now at the upfitter, so there's definitely a problem getting vehicles at this moment.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase of the two police interceptor patrol vehicles at $81,900.
Second. Sandy, go.
Second.
Ms. DeLeon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Engels, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Yerger, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Benonis, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Croce, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mark, I think we discussed this during budget time or earlier. To try to avoid the situation next year where there's a shortage of vehicles, can we identify what our needs may be for the subsequent year so that we can start that process earlier to make sure those are in the production line or have been requested?
Yeah, we can work on that for next year to have it ready in December.
Thank you. All right, next we have the authorization for the collection of 2023 real estate taxes. Council is considering authorizing Keystone Collections Group to collect the 2023 real estate tax in the base amount of $2,354,582.60, of which $357.60 is for the fire tax, based on an assessment of $458,090,000 presented by Northampton County. Catherine, Mark, do you want to add anything? Then I'll make a motion for the approval for the collection of 2023 real estate taxes.
I'll second it.
Mr. Engels, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Yerger, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Benonis, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Croce, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. DeLeon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, next we have is setting the hearing date for the conditional use application for CU 01-23 Bethel Landfill. Council will set a date for the conditional use hearing to begin. Do you want to speak to this?
Sure. So the Bethlehem landfill filed a conditional use application on January 6th of this year. Pursuant to the municipality's planning code, the township has 60 days to commence the hearing. So the hearing would need to be commenced by March 6th. It's actually probably March 3rd because you've got to take a couple days out. But so it's on the agenda tonight for council to consider setting a date and time to commence the hearing.
What is the lawsuits that have been recently filed for this?
Well, we have 60 days to start the hearing. Period.
Even though we got served with 2 lawsuits?
Yes.
Just so the record reflects that.
So Lynn, what are our options here?
Well, I mean, I would set it, prior to the 60-day time period. That could change. I mean, I've had discussions with counsel for the objectors, and there's a possibility that a court could grant a stay, but at the moment, we have to start the hearing within 60 days. So I would say, shoot for the last week in February. We start on Monday the 27th. You got to pick a time, and we got to decide whether we're going to do it here or whether we're going to go to a bigger location.
Well, I'm going to suggest, I'm going to make a motion that we set a hearing date of February 27, 2023. Considering the last hearing lasted several hours, I would add that the hearing will start at 9:00 a.m. and we can conduct the hearing at the Lower Saucon Fire Rescue Fire Station. They'll agree to accommodate this because they have more space than we have here. So we don't run into the same issues we had at the last one.
Did you just say 9 a.m. in the morning?
Yeah, I mean, township officer open at 9 a.m. People work at 9 a.m. Some people work in the day, some people work at night.
Jason, might I add something?
I think that gives us enough time. What if we get a blizzard or something like that?
Well, I think we can set the date and we can move the date if necessary, right, Lynn?
Yeah, okay, did you say the 27th?
I did.
So we basically have that entire week to start, so if we get.
Okay.
You don't, it's my understanding, you have to start it, but you don't have to finish it.
Correct, you have to commence the hearing within 60 days.
I just didn't know if it gave ourselves an extra week.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so we don't have to finish it. It doesn't, it can't.
Commence it, you don't have to finish it.
Just finish it.
I made a motion.
I'll second.
All right.
Ms. Yerger, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Benonis, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Carucci, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. DeLeon, how do you vote?
Absolutely not.
Mr. Angles, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1.
What was the motion?
Thank you. So the next is, next item on the agenda is discussion and establishment of procedures for the conditional use.
Yeah, the last motion was February 27th, 9 a.m., fire company down the street. Lower Saucon Fire Rescue. That's the location.
You mean so white?
Lower Saucon Fire Rescue.
It's now Lower Saucon Fire Rescue, but yeah, formerly known as Soweto.
Need to speak up, we can't hear you.
All right, so the next item, the discussion and establishment of procedures for the conditional use hearing. You have a couple options as to how to conduct that hearing. One of them being conducted by full council, the other one being an independent attorney appointed as a hearing officer, and the other possibility being appointing a single council member to conduct the hearing. So those are
You want to do that?
three options.
What did you say, Jason?
I asked if you wanted to be that single council person to be the hearing officer for this.
I just voted no to it, so I don't really think so, Jason.
I thought I offered.
Oh, I'm sure, because, you offered me so much this year,
Can't say no. All right, so.
Take it, Priscilla, good opportunity.
I think it makes sense to have an independent hearing officer to conduct this hearing, to compile the facts and conclusions of law. So I'm going to make a motion to direct the township solicitor, the township manager to identify a hearing officer and bring recommendations to council at the February 15, 2023 meeting.
I'll second.
Interesting, we have to take off of work to be here, but you don't? Is that what's going on?
Yep.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Question,
You want to answer?
the information that was in our packet, the attachment, chapter 180, zoning article, Roman numeral 2, was that wrong? Was that supposed to be in there? Lynn? Was that the right, what do I want to say, regulation?
I think that's how the hearing gets conducted, with the notice and shall be held within 60 days. That's why it was in there.
It's not zoning hearing board, it's conditional use.
No, understood, but we don't have our own procedures for conditional use, so whether conditional use is process follows the zoning hearing board in terms of advertising.
We have had conditional use hearings for
Yes.
cell towers.
Correct.
So what process did we use for that?
This one. 180-11.
Mr. Benonis, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Croce, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. DeLeon, how do you vote? Mr. Angles, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Yerger, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1.
All right, next up we have the approval of the December 7, 2022 council minutes. Any questions or comments from council? I'll make the motion to approve.
Were you talking about the 7th?
Yes.
No, wait, I did have a correction. I just have to find where I put it. Somewhere, was that?
Had a couple of spelling errors that were pointing out from the short first.
Yeah, I think I had YouTube and somebody didn't put U, the letter
Do you
U.
have a page and line number for
I
some of
do,
those
it's
changes?
written down here somewhere. I'm sorry, I can't speedily find it.
December 7th?
YouTube, here it is, 13 to 16. And I guess I watched a YouTube video,
What line was that? 36?
maybe, I don't know, I have to pull it up. I only wrote down the page. Apologize for that. So 1306. It would be line, C, 34. On December 14th, 2022, there was, no, wait.
Here's the 936.
It's 36, sorry, my bifocals was. Okay, I watched a YouTube, so it should be, I believe the proper way of doing YouTube is the letter U, -2. And then,
It's actually how you spell it.
is that how you spell it? I don't know how to do that. So
YOUTUBE.
that should go there. I apologize. No, not finished yet.
So that part is only.
No, if that's correct, then fine. When I write YouTube, I don't write it that way, but I guess I can. And I guess then I watched it at Southern Lee, it was Upper Saucon School District, right? I watched the video like that you went to, you attended, was it the Upper Saucon Township Council?
Southern Lee High School District.
The Southern, I'm sorry, I don't have kids in school, so wait, you went to the council meeting, not the
No, I went to the school board.
Right, so the school board would be called, I'm sorry,
Southern Lehigh.
Southern Lehigh,
School.
Southern, so what did I, Southern Lehigh School Board. School District. Okay, so I guess another side. Okay, so I guess there's no corrections unless there's typos that you have.
They're for the 21st.
What's that?
They're for the 23rd.
Right.
Are you doing them together?
I guess we're doing them separate.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, I made a motion to approve the December 7, 2022 council minutes. After Priscilla's comments and retraction of those comments, I don't think there are any proposed changes. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Sorry for wasting time.
Mr. Church, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. DeLeon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Angles, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Gerger, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Benonis, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, next we have the December 21, 2022 council minutes. Mark, you've already indicated there are some changes.
Yeah, there's some misspellings that were pointed out on page 16. We have admitting, and it's emitting. We have repods, and it's reports. And then the other one is an atrocity. Or stuff that's some crazy things that did nitrates.
Do you have any other pages?
So,
Okay, I have on page 22, line 13, it should be gas, EAS, and then LRT, not gas, lit.
I'm sorry.
I got it.
You got it?
You got it.
All right.
Thank you.
Is that all?
Yep.
Is that all? All right. So I'll make the motion to approve the December 21, 2022 council minutes with corrections to page 16 before the meeting, reports and atrocity on page 21 of gas layer.
I'll second it.
Ms. DeLeon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Angles, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Gerger, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Benonis, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Crowe, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, we have the December 2022 financial reports. Any questions about financial reports? All right, hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve the December 2022 financial reports.
Second.
Mr. Angles, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Sugar, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Benonis, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Crowe, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. DeLeon, how do you vote?
No.
Motion passes 4-1.
All right, next up, we have council and staff reports. Mark.
Yes, the township has been notified that we had 2 successful county grants, one for the purchase of security cameras and one for the purchase of a license plate recognition device. The township was also notified by DCNR that our grant application for the special grant is not successful. As I said before, vehicles are very hard to get at this time. The CDL truck that the township ordered in early 2022, we just got an updated bill date of May 15th of 2023. It started out as a third quarter 2022 bill, and now it is May 15th of 2023. The other item I just want to update you on, you had approved to redo the audio and visual in this room. I met with the audio-visual contractor. They were working on finishing up the design and ordering the equipment. They expect to install the equipment in March.
Beginning of March, end of March, middle of March.
Probably the end of March.
It won't be April Fool's Day.
Elmer?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, next we have junior council member, give me a report for us.
Not right now, but at Saucon Valley School District, there are a few spring activities coming up. I think they're hosting a play sometime in February.
Need a microphone.
So I can share that.
Right. Thank you. Just for the crowd for you here, a junior council member indicated that there's some events coming up in Saucon Valley School District. One of those is a play that's going to take place sometime in February, and we'll give us an update on that at the next council meeting on February 15th.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Council reports. Yeah, Mark?
Yes. I have my first rail trail meeting on Monday. So if anybody has any comments, questions, or anything you want me to ask, just send me an email and I'll bring everything up. I'm a strong believer in the rail trail. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful thing for the township. And I have Parks and Rec coming up as well. We haven't really had a meeting there in a while, but a couple things that we're going to work on is I want to try to find a place to put a turf field. I think in this day and age, turf for athletics.
I don't play sports either. So.
Well, the benefits of it is you can play year-round on it. You're not worried about weather or anything like that. It really goes a long way to kids practicing, kids getting outside and all the other stuff. Basically, probably a turf field is the equivalent of probably 2 to 3 grass fields, basically with the ability you have to play on. Like for example, right now, you can't play on a grass field because you destroy it. But a turf field, you're all set to go. And if you go over to Lehigh Fields and just drive around over there, you'll notice their turf field they use year-round. The lacrosse team takes a snowplow to it, they push the snow off it, and they practice on it year-round. So I would like to pursue that opportunity. Another nice thing we have going is the YMCA. I'm not sure if anyone read about that in the paper the last week or two. It's projected to go down in Upper Saucon Township, but serve all of Lower Saucon Valley, we'll call it, which would be Coopersburg, Lower Milford, all the surrounding areas, Hellertown, Lower Saucon. And I think they're trying to get 1,000 members. They're in the donation stage right now. So that's looking very promising. We're gonna have some pools, or a pool, basketball courts, gyms, and a lot of nice classrooms and things like that, and programs and whatnot. So I think Lower Saucon should get behind that. And then I had one other meeting with Mark over at the Heller Homestead, and Mark could follow up on this maybe a little bit further. We were looking at the windows. Apparently we have a grant, Mark, for the windows?
Yeah, we have a grant for the windows. We're working on looking into what the grant will allow to hopefully come back in February with a bid request to have the windows in the widow house repaired.
That's been on years and years to do.
Right.
It needs to get done.
We had a very good meeting over there last week. Very nice gentleman.
Are you a conservancy member? Or?
We have the gentleman that does a lot of work for the Bethlehem Historic Association down along Code, or Creek,
Monocacy.
I'm just curious.
Mark, just on that YMCA issue, I read that article. It sounds very promising, and the way they described it was it would be a southern tier YMCA, and it would include Lower Saucon Township, Salisbury Township, Upper Saucon, Coopersburg, Lower Milford, and maybe others. So it's going to serve a wide.
Right, there are no boundaries. Tell her to it.
Right, but it's designed to serve what's considered to be the southern tier that they have out.
Right, they already have one in Bethlehem. They have one in Allentown, I believe. They have a brand new one on 663 that's state of the art.
I don't think we're all older in this room. I think we think of YMCA's as dingy and rundown. This will not be that. This will be state of the art. It'll be beautiful.
I think it sounds great. All right, Sandy?
I have nothing.
Tom?
Yes. The fire company's merger with Steel City is coming to fruition. There are some pictures, I believe, I sent to the township that were sent to me by Lower Saucon Fire and Rescue of the Steel City building. It's called the Steel City Fire Station for Lower Saucon Fire and Rescue. They have the sign up, and the 16, their number out there, so they've taken the building over, the deed. And, we're going to, fire services and this coming year is going to talk about, improvements to the Steel City Fire Station, as well as some of the other stations, and try and get some idea of what the cost of some of that stuff would be. So they've rebranded the trucks up there with their number and the Lower Saucon Fire and Rescue logo. So it's pretty much complete. I think the Steel City filed dissolution paperwork with the state to dissolve as a 501c3, and I think that they're just waiting for that to come back. But the trucks and the property have all been transferred to Lower Saucon Fire and Rescue. Is the understanding right? They've updated the equipment. So congratulations to those guys for all their hard work in getting this done. And it's nice to have one fire company for all of Lower Saucon Township. I dropped mine and the neighbor's Christmas tree off at the township last week. I want to commend Mark and our Public Works guys for a great job they did. I know they were busy the first week, January 7th. I went last week, the 14th. And just a reminder to residents, there's one work Saturday, this Saturday, the 21st, will be your last chance to drop the Christmas tree off this year until we have our compost available in the spring. Then we certainly bring yard waste and put all that in the spring. Just glad to see the Howtown Area Library offering library cards to our residents for purchase. Kathy, how many have we done so far approximately?
I believe we received 23.
23. Okay, great. That's excellent. And they've submitted the paperwork, and
Yes.
when will they be reimbursed?
This week.
Checks are ready?
Yep.
Great. Excellent. And somebody told me, although I'm sure a lot of residents know, somebody told me, I believe it's true, that the Southern Lehigh Libraries agreed to continue honoring Lower Saucon Township residents at their library for at least until their next meeting, which I believe is in February. So we have some good library services. That's all. So,
Yes, I have several things. Mark, the gentleman spoke tonight about truck traffic using the wrong roads. Could you look into that? You did? Okay, thank you. I want to bring council, the manager's attention to the format of the 2023 reorganization meeting. We passed a resolution 31-2023 that all regular and special meetings of Lower Saucon Township Council shall be conducted according to the following order of business. The January 3rd. The January 3rd reorganization agenda did not include presentations and hearings, which we had none, but despite the fact it's still listed as could be none. Developer items, which were none, and then under township business items, that would, to me, would be the proper place to put the reorganization information. And then again, miscellaneous business items, and would be none. No, I'm just going by the last one that we had. But council and staff reports was missing, and it deprived me of an opportunity to speak and ask questions on various issues. So I think we need to follow our own regs, and our resolution states that we need to follow it, the format as the way it's stated. Moving on then to the library, received many emails from concerned citizens regarding the position we are in with Hal. I try to respond, but most times I have no idea how to answer their questions. Last night I attended a Southern Lehigh Public Library meeting. As a courtesy to those attending, they provided a packet in the back of the room for your information. It was refreshing, so so it was refreshing to hear during the meeting the solicitor provide updates to the board on various subjects, because we really don't have an update on the library. Contrary to our board, who really hasn't provided the public with any behind-the-scenes activities to the whole council at a council meeting. Not very transparent. And I'm glad that people are taking advantage of the $40. But when I opened up the packet, I read in the Southern Lehigh Public Library's December minutes, in part said, Board Solicitor Joe Leeson said that he had a conversation with Attorney Treadwell, who represents Lower Saucon Council, and the conversation was described as informal. And Mr. Treadwell asked if the Southern Lehigh Public Library Board would accept a month-to-month agreement, and he said that the township would be willing to pay $10,000 per month, and a long discussion was held. Why would you put that number out there without even bringing it back to council? I mean, council, I don't know how the other, I don't know.
We can address it now.
The residents.
I'll
address it now. I've had maybe 2 or 3 conversations with Attorney Leeson. I also had a couple conversations with the attorney that previously represented the Southern Lehigh Library.
Who was?
I don't remember her name for her law. But I've had multiple conversations, all under the concept of looking for other library services, which council directed me to do. So, yeah, I had conversations about a whole bunch of different things. But I never offered anything that would bind the township if there were discussions. And they were all prefaced with council would need to approve whatever it is that gets discussed.
Council specifically authorized you to do that, I believe, in January.
January 19th, 2022.
I've had multiple discussions about library services for the last year.
So authorized by council.
And he was authorized, but when it comes to a specific dollar amount, that has to come back and get approved by the council.
Absolutely.
So anyway, and I guess I'd just like to say, throw this out there, it appears that no one from the beginning of this, back in January, whatever date it was on the council agenda, that really, you didn't really do your homework in the operations of a library. A responsible person would make sure library services were still being provided to our residents while searching for another library. It is not right to continue to use the library from February to the end of the year with no payment to Hal. That is just an atrocity. A $50,000 donation is not the same thing, in my opinion, as a formal contract. And I have a letter that I would like to read that I received today, that all council received today, and I have his permission to read it. Dear Lower Saucon board members, from what I understand, the stated reasons why a majority of the board wanted to leave the Hellertown Area Library Service area are that there isn't transparency in how library spends its money, a feeling that the library's services may not be sufficient, and a feeling that the contract is too expensive. There may be other reasons I am missing, but as far as I can tell, those are not the stated reasons. If that is the case, I don't understand the deal that Lower Saucon Township Solicitor E. Lincoln Treadwell, Jr., Esquire, proposed to Southern Lehigh Public Library Solicitor Joe Leeson, according to a draft of the Southern Lehigh Public Library Board's of Directors General Business Meeting minutes for Tuesday, December 20th, 2022, Mr. Treadwell had an informal discussion with Mr. Leeson where Mr. Treadwell offered $10,000 per month on a month-by-month basis for Lower Saucon Township access to the Southern Lehigh Public Library. As this was not a formal discussion, it doesn't sound like anything specific was mentioned about board representation from Lower Saucon Township or any other details. And then he starts asking questions. Did Mr. Treadwell approach Southern Lehigh Solicitor on behalf of the board because there was no discussion about this idea at a Lower Saucon Township meeting? So how would you answer that?
Is this your
I'm
report?
I'm asking a question.
This is your report. I mean, I think the solicitor can offer his report later.
I didn't know you were asking it to me.
I don't know.
Pay attention, maybe you don't know. Maybe you're always talking about it, pay attention, Bob. That's what's wrong with you guys, you don't pay attention.
Answer for some question. Go
Thank you.
ahead.
I
That's the question.
appreciate the courtesy.
That's the question.
Did Mr. Treadwell approach Southern Lehigh Solicitor on behalf of the board? And you pretty much answered that a couple minutes ago. Because there was no discussion about this at a Lower Saucon Township meeting.
So what's the question?
That wasn't answered in 5.
Well, the date was, what was that date again? January?
What is your question?
Okay, since you're not understanding my question, I'll move on to the next one. If you extend that.
Is this for me too? Are these, all these questions going to be for me?
I'm asking them, maybe the manager can help answer
Okay.
them, maybe you can, maybe the people that have
Trying
been
to figure out where we're
integral part of this behind-the-scenes discussion with the library, because I'm not privileged to any of that. So the next question is, if you extend that $10,000 over a calendar year, that is a total of $120,000. If Lower Saucon does find another library contract before the end of the year, they would need to pay the new contract for the remaining of the year along with the $10,000 per month proposed to Southern Lehigh Public Library. Why would Lower Saucon be willing to spend $120,000 or the equivalent if another contract is made before the end of the year for library access if it does not want to spend $105,000 for the Hellertown area library access? Did Mr. Treadwell or the board think that a month-by-month contract would allow residents to also have PA access to other libraries in the state? If not, how would this contract be any better than the contract with Hellertown? So I guess since you were negotiating that link, how do you answer that?
What was the question?
I didn't even hear a question.
Really? And you call yourself a lawyer?
What are you doing offering $10,000?
You asked me more questions.
Send
You
us
said
right
yes,
the check,
and you had
Mike.
5 statements.
Well, yeah, I'm getting to the question.
Okay, what's the question?
Okay, so now the question is, did Mr. Treadwell or the board think that a month-by-month contract will allow residents to have PA access to other libraries in the state? If not, how would this contract be any better than the contract that we had with Hellertown?
I didn't discuss any contract. It was an informal discussion,
Okay.
and that's what it was.
Okay, fine, the record will reflect that. Did Mr. Treadwell or the board think a month-by-month contract will allow residents access to the, I guess he's talking about LCLC Partners Library? I'm not sure, was that Lehigh County Library? What? Oh, okay. So, I don't know, this is a resident that has questions, and nobody's answering questions.
He can call me and ask me all the questions he wants.
A resident, so all the residents can call tomorrow, okay? Is that what you wanted to happen? Okay.
I told
You
you.
guys should call you first and see if you have any answers, and then they can call in. We want to be involved in these issues, so.
I know. Did Mr. Treadwell or the board get a copy of Southern Lehigh Public Library last budget to review it and approve how the library was spending its money? Did we ever do that?
I think I have a copy of their proposed this year budget.
Okay.
Not sure about last year.
Right, but if not, how would this contract be any better than the contract with Hellertown, especially since one of the board's issues was the lack of access to the House budget? And that's true, the township kept saying that we didn't have access to their budget.
That's not true. We always had access to their budget.
No, really? Okay, and lastly, can the board please add a library discussion to the February agenda as indicated? Can we do that?
I don't think there's anything to discuss with regard to the library. I think we have, when there's something to discuss, we can put it on the agenda. Maybe.
Okay, everybody heard that. Okay, moving on. I guess tomorrow there's a landfill meeting, and we do have landfill people in the back of the room. Are they still here? Mary Ann, are you still here?
I'm here, yeah.
Okay, I was pleased to read that at the time of this meeting with the DEP on December 27, 2022, that all areas requiring temporary cap have been completed as per the approved capping plan. Geosynthetic material for final capping has been placed in all required areas and it's waiting soil placement. So you finally did.
All right, so this is a council report. This is a question and answer to the public.
And that's your opinion.
No, it's
okay?
council report. That's
Okay,
what it's
but I'm
called
not
on the
done yet.
agenda. It's not cross-examination of people out in the audience. It's your chance to give a council.
Okay, so my next subject is, I've been asked about what the benefits are. We hear that the landfill has benefits to the community. How many people want to know that, right? So in 2022, these annual reports are issued, like 2023's will be issued in May or June of this year. So they're behind a couple months. So approved benefits in the DEP harms benefit analysis. And this is filled out by the landfill. For each approved benefit identified in the DEP harms benefit analysis review, please answer and address the following statements. So, the approved benefit by DEP is scholarships. So they have in 2022 awarded 10 scholarships at $1,000 each. And the Bethlehem then goes on to say, with a little asterisk, the Bethlehem landfill wasn't able to donate this money to scholarships in 2021. BLC was able to make over $15,000 in contributions in 2021 to the following: Dewey Fire Company, Hellertown Lower Saucon Little League, Hellertown Area Library, Still City Fire Company, Lehigh Valley Phantoms, Our Lady of Lebanon Church, Lower Saucon Adopt a Road Sign, Quakertown Booster Club, I'm assuming this is a typo, Saucon Valley Conservancy, and the Christmas Promise Bike Build. Okay, so that's one thing. And then they go on to say that another approved benefit was the Great PA Pennsylvania Cleanup that you hear about once a year. They do a Pennsylvania Cleanup. They participated in that 100%. And then it goes on to say about the host fees. We all know about the host fees paid to the township. And then they talk about local benefits attributable to operating expenses, capital expenditures, payroll payments, and tax revenue. So that would apply to any business that would be on that site, but they claim it as a benefit. And the site continues to purchase goods and employ personnel, etc. And it goes on, and they have emergency management capabilities, that's a benefit. And then they have an approved drop-off center as a benefit. For 2021, again, they have contribution scholarships, and again, they tout the 10 scholarships awarded at $1,000 each. Due to COVID, Bethel Landfill wasn't able to donate this money to scholarships. BLC was able to make over $12,000 in contributions in 2020 to the following: Dewey Fire Company, Hellertown Lower Saucon Little League, New Jerusalem Food Bank, Southern Lehigh School District, Steel City Fire Company, and the Christmas Promise Bike Build. And then it goes on to say pretty much what the other one did about the Great PA Cleanup, about the host fees, about the operating expenses that they pay in the taxes, and emergency management capabilities, and then the recycling drop-off center. And the last one I have is for June of 2020, and again, they talk about the scholarships, and again, it just says full benefit, 10 scholarships were awarded at $1,000 each. It doesn't identify where they went. And then it talks about the Great PA Cleanup. It talks about the host fees, and it talks about the local benefits with the payroll stuff, and emergency management capabilities, and the recycling drop-off center. So there's your benefits from the landfill, everybody.
That's great. It's good, there's good benefits for the township, and you take responsibility for that. You've voted for every landfill expansion for the past 35 years.
And I told you why at the last meeting.
So thank you for helping those benefits.
Because they were in a box.
You voted for every landfill expansion.
He's interrupting me.
I think you're done.
No, I'm not done. He's interrupting me.
It was just offering thanks to Tom, but I was thanks to Michelle.
I was thanking him.
Thank you.
Thanking the landfill for that?
That when a landfill comes before us, and I hope you're listening, Mary Ann, they are in a box, they have their zone, and they're light industrial, and that's their zone. Okay, when they present us with an expansion plan, not a rezoning plan, an expansion plan, we have the responsibility to review that plan, have our experts look at it, come up with recommendations, whatever, have them go back and forth. And when the consultant says, and Brian, you've always said, yes, they've met their plans, correct? I always look at you and say, have you done that? And I have no choice but to say yes. Because if I had a reason why not to approve it, and they took us to court, we would lose. So, now, when a rezoning comes in and they go outside their box, I vote no.
Are you done?
Yes, I'm done. I'll repeat it again, though, if anybody else forgets.
No, I've heard enough, thank you. All right, so I have several different things. One with regard to Lower Saucon Fire Rescue. Tom, I want to acknowledge your efforts on that. You really worked hard and worked well with the fire companies to bring that together, to bring it to reality. That's an issue that had been hanging out for well over a decade. I'm glad that you spearheaded that and you were able to bring that to a conclusion. It just shows the benefits of having somebody with a level of competency and the importance of being a liaison to certain organizations. And I'm going to do a lot more for the township in that regard.
Thank you. I want to thank Scott Creasha and Ty Johnson. They really did a lot of the legwork. Thank you, Scott. Scott's in the back.
So I also want to thank township staff, Mark and everyone else. Mark has done a great job, and the staff has done a great job with regard to providing updates on the library services. We know that library services are important to the public, and Mark has been very good, the staff has been very good about getting information out through the website and responding to township residents. A couple things I want to address with regard to that. Priscilla, you made some comments earlier about, I guess it was an email that you read from a resident. And just so the record is clear, this council voted to give Hellertown Area Library $50,000, no questions asked. And now they're taking $40 per family. So I mean, perhaps that's more lucrative, I don't know, but whatever it is. Now, Priscilla, you said that you're not privileged to issues with regard to the library in Hellertown, but I had looked at the Hellertown Council meeting minutes, and they had identified you as having spoken at a meeting in December. And that was a meeting that they authorized a lawsuit against Lower Saucon Township, and they identified you, I think, as a collaborator. Is that accurate?
Back up, start off again.
Yeah, so you said that you're not privy to the dealings of the library and issues with regard to Hellertown. And you did speak at a Hellertown Borough Council meeting, and it's in their minutes, and they identified you in those minutes as collaborating with them. Is that right?
Well, I don't know if I use the word collaborating.
Well, what would you use?
I don't remember what I don't have the statement in front of me, that I was, I'd have to see the minutes.
Well, did you tell them you supported paying them money for the compost center?
I'd have to look and see what I said.
Well, you were there, weren't you?
Yes, I was. No, I was on Zoom.
What's the interrogation for? What's the interrogation? We got two tag team in one here.
Show me.
Your council, it's your report, let you speak now. Stop asking her questions.
Because you're trying to put words in my mouth.
No, I'm just asking you because
I was at the
claim.
meeting, and I made a comment, and I'd have to go back to the minutes and see what it was said.
You made a comment during your statement today that you weren't privileged to what was going on, but you had Hellertown Borough minutes and that you were collaborating with them. That's all I want to know. Is that true?
I explained
She said she didn't know what was happening with the council. Excuse me.
You know what, you guys.
All right, so I'll move on, Priscilla, because obviously you don't want to answer any
No, I didn't say I didn't want to answer.
So you wanted to talk about benefits of the landfill earlier, and I don't know if the public subscribes to or reads the Morning Call. There was an interesting article in the Morning Call. This is on January 9th, 2023. The title of this is How a Bethlehem Power Plant Helped Keep the Heat On During the Frigid Christmas Week. And we all know how cold it was over Christmas week. And for those who may not be aware, the PJM interconnection manages the electricity grid, and the Calpine Energy Plant, which is just across from the landfill. I didn't ask you what it was.
Well, you looked at me like
No, I'm not asking, I'm just speaking now, because I can't ask you
Don't
questions
look at me
apparently. I don't really want to, but, so the Calpine property across the street was generating electricity, and they received an emergency grant from the U.S. Department of Energy to increase electricity output to its maximum level. And the reason for that was there was such a taxing demand on the electricity grid that there was concerns about having rolling blackouts and things like that. So, you know, one of the things that you talked about were benefits. We've learned, and it's come before this council in the past, that there's actually another electricity generating plant that's being built by area, I think it is, and that would be generating electricity from landfill gas. So another benefit, I would think, from the landfill, if and when that power plant comes online, is that it supplements the electricity grid so that we don't freeze during Christmas week when we can have a Christmas lights.
That's not even the amount of gas that a landfill generates. And I'm an engineer.
You don't leave a comment.
We're not even gonna see any of that gas.
Conversation, so I'm just talking about things
not your
where
mouth.
I'm trying to clarify the record so that it's clear some of the benefits that people should consider. So, because the December meeting ran so long,
The amount
what we've done in the past.
I'm a technical engineer. You look like one.
Who
has already made up their mind?
At the end of the year.
Don't kid yourself.
At the end of the year, we've always gone through a list of our accomplishments, all the things that we've done during the year, both council and staff. And we didn't have an opportunity to do that, so I'd like to take some time to talk, and put on the record, the things that this council and this township staff have accomplished in the past year, because we didn't have a chance to talk about it then. So, bear with me. Fire company's merger. We hosted 3 very successful movies in the park. We transitioned to Keystone Collections for property taxes, and we also provided them with an office location right here, right across from the township office building. We hosted a land conservation workshop. We organized and ran an electronic recycling event. We replaced the carpets and had the roofs painted in portions of the township building. We made our website ADA accessible. We organized the Southeastern Park Beautification Volunteer Project. We hired several new staff, 3 administrative personnel, 2 part-time, 1 full-time police officers, 1 public works. We enacted the stormwater ordinance. We implemented board docs for the production of our board materials. We obtained 3 grants from Northampton County for the Reading Drive culvert, for security cameras, for emergency services, including license plate recognition for our police department. We have ongoing grant work where we applied for $1.5 million for next year for the East Road Ball Field and Town Hall Park improvements. We closed out grants from the prior years for $600,000 for the Town Hall pole building, police equipment, Sidersville Hall improvements, PennDOT bridge funding. We provided modification for the PVP trail replacement, $170,000, Sidersville Hall improvements, Heller Homestead windows. We resurfaced 4.94 miles of township roads. We resurfaced the entirety of Saucon Valley Terrace. We replaced the Lower Saucon Road Bridge. We refurbished the old Philadelphia Pike Bridge. We added a new pole building to the township complex for the K-9 police and a sign room. We migrated all vehicle traffic from network fleet to Verizon Reveal, improving tracking capabilities at reduced monthly cost. We implemented Nextcloud for advanced secure file sharing. We upgraded the town hall basketball court lights with LED lights. We cleaned out the stormwater detention basin in the Roaders Glen subdivision for municipal requirements. We provided a number of improvements for the Steel City Park. We raised the stage at Town Hall Park. Public works staff attended 9 training sessions. We created a full-time police candidate eligibility list. We conducted 25 community problem-solving details for speeding complaints and things like that. We conducted 30 traffic details funded by the Pennsylvania Traffic Safety Grant, which resulted in 253 violations and 10 criminal arrests. Conducted 21 DUI roving patrols funded by the PA Traffic Safety Grant, which resulted in 94 violations and 11 criminal arrests. We deployed electronic speed signs at various locations to deter speeding and address complaints. We hosted a car seat check event with 3 other police departments at our municipal complex. We hosted the Saucon Valley High School student job shadow with our detective, K-9 Officer Cunningus, and K-9 Titus conducted 8 K-9 demonstrations throughout the community. Our chief and detective spoke with 2 career exploration classes at Saucon Valley High School. We continued our school walkthrough program at the Saucon Valley School District. We held a very successful national night out at Town Hall Park. Best ever, and will only get better. We successfully completed our 3rd PA State Accreditation Assessment thanks to Sergeant Lighty, our accreditation manager, and the officers for their following the standards. We donated 287 pounds of food to the New Jerusalem Church Food Bank for our 4th annual food drive, held our 3rd Toys for Tots drive, and donated 5 large boxes of toys. Detective North, Sergeant Lighty, and Chief Barn obtained their FBI LEED Trilogy Award. Patrol Corporals Connell, Lauder, Werkheiser, and Haggerty completed the FBI LEEDA Supervisor and Executive Leadership Training. The officers were able to staff 3 traffic posts between 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. for the week of the USGA Senior Open at Saucon Valley Country Club. Hosted 6 outside training classes, became part of the Project Lifesaver project for people who wander off due to dementia and Alzheimer's. We increased library funding 33%. We donated funds to the L S Township Demise. We implemented the policy and code of conduct for council meetings. We extended the contract for the feral cat program. We provided COVID pay for the part-time police officers. We provided variances to the Lower Saucon Authority for a new pump station on Wrightsville Road. We recognized an Eagle Scout and the state champion wrestling team. We retained an interim manager and hired a new manager who's doing a great job for us. We have a new assistant manager as well. We have new administrative assistants. We obtained a new Mack dump truck. We funded the Saucon Valley Community Center. We adopted the comprehensive plan. We conducted a conservation workshop and did a mailing to landowners for open space. We funded the Saucon Valley Community Center summer programs. We provided staff with bonuses.
Oh my God.
We did an engineering traffic study for Ringhofer Countryside in Sherry Hill. We obtained bids for the East Road ball field. We obtained bids for the Reading Road culvert project. We funded the school resource officer for the Saucon Valley School District. We did a market study for administrative positions in the township. We disposed of old antiquated records. We paid installment number 2 to Lower Saucon Fire Rescue for the ladder truck. We funded the Hellertown Halloween Parade. We repaired the Heller Homestead sign. We repaired the shutters at the Litz Franklin Schoolhouse. We improved the backstop padding at the Southeastern Park. We provided a conservation easement for another 41.5 acres. We amended the zoning map, Apple Butter Road. And we did all of this while holding the line of taxes. So I think it's important to put on the record all the things that we've done because there are some people who may not have a view of some of the things that we've accomplished.
Thank you, Ms. Nosey. Thank you to our police and fire services. A lot of those accomplishments. Thank you.
All right, so with all that said, I yield the floor and I will turn it over to our solicitor.
I don't have anything other than to remind everybody I'd like to have a brief executive session after the meeting to discuss the litigation that Hellertown Borough filed against us. Okay. All right, Brian, any engineering report?
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so now we are at public comment, non-agenda items for residents and taxpayers only. Again, a 3-minute time limit. And the first person to check their name to speak is Bob Blasco.
Here to leave.
Bob Blasco, okay. Next is Laura Ray. Laura Ray.
All right, so I'm going to talk about library. It's interesting that you always say there's never an update, that's why it's not on our agenda, but somehow we managed to pop up on agendas all over the place around the area. So last night I did also attend the Southern Lehigh Public Library's board meeting since we were on their agenda. As usual, we learned a whole lot more there than we are ever told at our own township meetings, and that's just wrong. So we are aware, looking in their minutes and their information they offered to us, is that There is a offer of paying $10,000 a month is being dangled out there to them. They have a lot of questions and a lot of skepticism, as well they should. They noted that this would be, that if they did some month-to-month agreement, it still would not provide Pennsylvania access to other libraries. So it would be solely for that library alone. They also said that there's only 262 Lower Saucon Township residents that have cards at that library, as opposed to over 3,000 at the Hellertown area library. So at $10,000 a month, that's about $38.17 per month per person, or $468 per year per person. And that sounds like a much better deal than what we have with Cal, doesn't it? They would not expect that there would be a huge influx of patrons because it's not convenient for Lower Saucon residents, as you well know. Our library used to be our home library. It was blocks away from the school where the children could access it and walk to it. The Southern Lehigh Public Library's current per capita rate would put us at $13,805 per month, and that's $165,660 per year, which is about 65% more than we were paying. And I really don't want to hear about how you think you're fiscally responsible with, you know, the numbers that are out there and the amount that we've been wasting on lawsuits.
Murphy. All right, next is Matt McLaren. Matt McLaren. Next is Bob Kemmerer. Bob Kemmerer. Okay. Next is Ross Sutton.
I think you did it right by now.
I can't read the handwriting, sir. I have no idea what it says.
The question I have is the hearings on the 27th, is that going to be open to the general public or just township residents? It should be open to everyone, because it affects a lot of people other than just us.
I don't think we close this room to anybody that's not a township resident, so.
You only allow residents to come for
speak.
these. So the hearing on the 27th.
We had some non-residents here tonight, didn't we?
Everybody had to be a resident to speak.
On the 27th, can anyone go to that hearing?
Yes, as the room's open.
Can they speak?
There's no public comment period during a public hearing, during a conditional use.
Right, but anybody can go to it.
You can watch it.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a resident to go to it.
No.
Okay,
Building's open.
okay.
All right, next is Diane Hollowell.
Would you ever allow grant funders, or your funders of the township to speak, or no, when they're not taxpayers or residents? When they're providing funding from an organization or another government entity, they're not allowed to speak because they're not a taxpayer or resident? Is that, okay, thank you. I just wanted to know.
Diane Hollowell.
Yeah. Did you clear it with the fire company beforehand? Like, how do you know though, maybe a wedding's not going on in the morning? Like, is that all cleared? Is this gonna change?
Yes.
Check into it.
So you cleared it ahead of time?
Well, we just got an indication from the gentleman in the back row.
Okay. All right, where am I at here? The last meeting, I asked if anybody on one of you guys had a degree in finance, and somebody who was not in attendance on the phone replied, yes, correct. Okay. So, the Hellertown Library, their Lower Saucon residents, there are 3,320 Lower Saucon residents who have a Hellertown Library membership. And right now, they can get $40 and Lower Saucon is going to reimburse them. So let's do some math. That comes out to over $133,000. Please, everyone in this audience, encourage all your neighbors to go to Hellertown and get a library card. Right. Bring it here and then get your $40. Please, pass pass that on. So 133,000, I think, is a little more than the amount of money that you objected to in the beginning with this partnership. And let's not forget all these legal fees that are piling up. Like, how much do we have to pay Mr. Treadwell for his almost hour-long plea at the Southern Lee High School Board meeting? And what about that, oh my God, all your multiple meetings with, it's like $240 an hour, like this keeps adding up. And the $50,000 that we gave a library in another county. Like, what's your end goal? I don't understand it. And I guess I want to talk about the compost center. Oh my gosh, I went there on Saturday and I dropped off a pile of branches. Thank God for those guys that I had it on a tarp that we pulled it out. Because it's basically, for anybody who's going there, you're just throwing it on the macadam. Like, where does it go after the macadam? Like, I can't wait till the fall when my van is filled with leaves and I'm just gonna dump them on the macadam. Like, I don't understand that. Let me see, do I have anything else? I have 37 seconds left. Again, I'm just encouraging everybody, please, please, go get your $40, all right?
All right, thank you. Councilman Gavin. All right, next is Robert Ferreira.
Okay.
Marco Zanko.
My name's Robert Ferrer. I live at 2093 Ivywood Road for 53 years. I was always proud to live in Steel City. You guys are ruining it. I'm afraid, I talked to my wife. My wife said she would not leave Steel City unless she's in a body bag. You guys might put her there. But anyhow, I don't realize what's going on here. I listen to people coming in here telling you, don't do it. Don't give the dump. No, you guys got it decided, you're going to do it anyhow. But I'll tell you what, I'm here tonight, I was here last week with the other meeting, and I went through it years ago when we were the first expansion for the dump. And I met every meeting. I kept going and going and going. And finally it stopped. There were no more meetings. All of a sudden we find out the dump got the power to go ahead. So, and that's all I got to say. I'm just disappointed in you guys.
Marco's in it.
Marcos, McReddington Road, Lower Town. If anybody's interested in the EAC meeting and the comedian bullshit act that was there, you'll get first-hand visual of Tom's actions, which you need to visualize for yourself. I'd like to say that everybody needs to start attending every meeting for everything that goes on in this township, because when you don't, you're not here to find out what's going on. That includes the cops, most of whom I like, the fire departments, some of where I worked at. I'm at a loss for words with what's going on with this council. And as far as putting Tom on the EAC, or whatever they just did here before, it's like Biden wanting to stack the court. So honestly, I don't know if you guys are worse than Biden, because he's running the United States down the fucking drain. And you guys are running Lower Saucon down the drain. And I'm a fair person. I get the landfill. I get business. I weld for myself. I don't make a ton of money. But I also have in the back of my mind that I'm thinking maybe every resident in the Lower Saucon community should seek out, find a legitimate lawyer who cares about the township, and take all your tax money and stick it in escrow so you bankrupt them. Put this township out of business so it can get back on a good track. And for all the things that you mentioned that you did, congratulations, because those are all the things that you should have done in the first place. But you make it sound like you did everybody a favor. You know what I mean? It's called doing your job. I mean, whether you go to church or not, don't forget, God's watching. All the way to the bank. Every step of the way. And one day, just like I did my time, everybody's going to have to do their time. Think cautiously about what you do. Because honestly, the same way that all you people care about us is the same way that I'm going to care about you. And right now, I don't. I told EAC I was going to be a pain in the ass for him and Tom, and that's what my intention is. Because I'm not going to quit. And I'm going to encourage everybody else not to quit.
Thank you, sir. Next is Tara O. period C. period. Tara O. period C. period.
So I guess because I have to say my name, Victoria Optoff Cordaro, I think you've seen me here for quite a few years. You know who I am. You know how to pronounce my name, I think. You can spell it in legal actions against me, so you should know how to say it. So I appreciate you saying Victoria Optoff Cordaro. Thank you.
I'm just reading the name of the list.
Just proves he can't read.
So on my non-agenda items, I would like to bring up that it was very dismaying to see what I witnessed at the Sutherland High Public Library meeting yesterday. I had the opportunity to attend there where everybody was treated with respect, both residents and non-residents, something I did not see here to the DNL representatives who came to speak here on the easements that you hold in trust to them that you want to now destroy. So when I was at that Sutherland High Public Library meeting, I thought it was disgusting to see that we're spending all of our taxpayer dollars on legal fees so that we can pay a lawyer to do what you should be doing, which is having discussions and discussing things in public and not asking a lawyer to go speak to somebody else so we don't have to violate sunshine law. Because that was another thing that came up multiple times during that meeting, was the fact that Sutherland High Library Board was very concerned that not, except for Priscilla, not one of you could show your face to their board meeting in public where your comments would show up. And I think that's disgusting that you try to pay them off to get what you want, and you can't even show your faces there. And they said that this is just a fly in the face of sunshine, that we have to sit here and have discussions between lawyers. We can only have one person or two people, but they have to be behind the scenes because, God forbid, Lower Saucon Township residents find out what happens. So I would appreciate if you honor Sutherland High School District's or school board's request that in the next 30 days before they have their next board meeting, that one of you, other than Priscilla, shows and gives a public statement. And maybe you should invite Lower Saucon residents to that meeting because it's something that they do that you don't do. Thank you.
Thank you.
I too am going to circle back to the library fiasco again. I was one of the people in attendance at the Sutherland High Public Library Board meeting. And again, to my surprise, after reading the minutes from their December 20th board meeting, I learned about Mr. Treadwell's off-the-record discussion to provide $10,000 per month to the Sutherland High Public Library for services for Lower Saucon. So where did this come from? As a person with common sense, my calculations determined that it would be $120,000 a year for this library service. It's $13,000 more per year than what was requested by the Hellertown Library. Not to mention all the money that has been donated and the legal fees that have already been incurred. This arrangement with Southern Lehigh is temporary and doesn't allow for Lower Saucon residents to use the PA Access library system. It only allows for Lower Saucon to use that library down in Center Valley. I want to direct to Tom Hirochi when he was running for a seat on council. He was interviewed by Saucon Source, who asked the question, why are you running for a seat on Lower Saucon Township Council? Saucon Source published Mr. Hirochi's response as, and I'm quoting, I want to promote a township government that provides excellent service to residents and is fiscally responsible with taxpayer dollars. To me, this means remaining debt-free, having a strategic open space policy, supporting police, fire services, and the Hellertown Library and Pool. These initiatives will help preserve the future of our township for our children. I note that Mr. Hirochi said fiscally responsible with taxpayer dollars and supporting Hellertown Library. Not just any library, but the Hellertown Library. Somewhere along the way, Mr. Hirochi drank the Kool-Aid that was prepared by Mr. Bononis and did a 180 on his campaign promise. I sincerely hope that other council members have the fortitude to stand up to Mr. Bononis and restore our relationship with the HAP. I also want to make one additional comment related to these committee meetings or that council members are on and then get elected as voting members. I don't think council should be a voting member of committees. They can have representation. Their job should be to bring back the information to council, but not have the ability to vote on it once in a committee and then a second time as you're on the actual council.
Yes.
Number one, I would like to state my name again, Ginger Petrie, 2626 Reddington Road. I didn't get to say everything I wanted to say once I got upset hearing a person that bought property from me. So I'm going to try to calm myself down. I do want to say that I have been a very proud person to be in Lower Saucon Township. And we have a wonderful school system, and we have a lot of things to offer a lot of people. And that is what has been the draw to have people come here. And the reason that we're so upset is because we feel the landfill is going to be taken away from everything that we respect. So I know it comes across that we're being rude to you guys at times, but I think that is because we feel that you are being rude to us by not listening. So I'm just going to go read off my papers so I don't get emotional. I would like it to be part of the record that I'm against the change of the landfill's 275 acres from rural agriculture to light industrial. I am also against going from the special exception category to the conditional use category. And when it comes time to pull the conservation easements off, I will be against that too. We were told by the council that this is a slow process to decide about the landfills expanding. That is obviously a bunch of crap, because this thing is moving and moving fast. I imagine that some of you have played sports when you were young. Basketball, baseball, soccer. Now probably golf, and maybe some of the mind games like chess. Yes, this does remind me of a chess game that we're playing here and now. Well, we're watching a very expensive game of chess. RA to light industrial, okay, the conditional use, conservation easements off, all for the landfill is to remove the control and rock and roll. And that's exactly what we know they're going to do, and we are not stupid people. So trying to tell us that we should that it's going to all slow down is a bunch of crap again. Getting back to the sports thing. Think about when you were a team player and the rules of team playing. We voted you in You are supposed to be the home team. You will not be a superstar. You will not be a hero helping out the landfill. You could come our way. You could protect our land. You could protect our environment. You could protect our monetary investments. And most of all, you could protect our health. I will close with this thought. At the last meeting, a lot of people asked you how you can sleep at night. I was one of them. Obviously, you have no problem sleeping at night. Now, we can all do things as we have stress and get older. We can pop a Z-Quil, we could, somebody could smoke reefer. I don't do that.
Maybe 3 minutes or.
Oh, gosh. Maybe a good scotch. Well, I'll let you sleep. I'm concerned about what the heck you're thinking when you're awake. Because if you're acting completely oblivious to our concerns, the people that we care about this land, we voted you in, right now you're showing us that you don't give a damn. My dad had an expression, and I quote, know somebody long enough and they're going to show you their ass. Well, boy, are you guys showing it.
Thank you. I'm not sure if I can finish name, it may be Paul Elaine.
Oh, it's a Dan?
Paul Elaine?
No, I'm Dan.
Oh,
My handwriting is not so good, but
Fire Lane?
yes.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yes, I'm Danny Lane, 3709 Fire Lane. I'm going to reference a letter that this committee had gotten from the State Librarian Office of Commonwealth Libraries dated October 5th. State Librarian of the Pennsylvania Department of Education Office of Commonwealth Libraries has granted the request of Delaware Town Area Library pursuant to regulation 141.21 to exclude Lower Saucon Township from HALS, which is Delaware Town Area Library, direct service area prior to the end of 10-year period. Accordingly, HAL is hereby provided you with notice pursuant to regulation section 131.43 and 131.44, intends to remove LST from HAL's direct service area as of January 1st. The problem with that is I don't understand how that happened, why it happened, and is there anything we can do at the township level to correct this? Because what happened is we didn't have our home library anymore, so we can't go to Bethlehem Library. They don't recognize us anymore. So we can't use any library. Now, I understand we can go pay $40, but will that allow Bethlehem Library? Will we be patrons again so we can use the Bethlehem Library? That's my question.
No.
See, that's pointless, because see, Bethlehem Library is the library we were using. So we got stripped of that, and so we have no recourse.
We're trying to get recourse, we're suing.
Well, what would the recourse be?
We have a lawsuit against the L S Township Demise.
And that lawsuit's against who? Who's the lawsuit against? Who's the lawsuit against?
The Office of Commonwealth Libraries.
Okay, the state.
Yes.
Department of Education.
We're doing what you just read in the letter, right?
Well, it doesn't say that you did anything. This is the letter you got.
No,
It doesn't say what you're doing about it.
All right, but.
Okay, it doesn't say litigation.
No, the letter is what we're litigating about because they removed us from the service area of HAL without due process.
You asked me.
That was your request.
You asked them to do this.
No, that's a HAL
Lower Town Area Library.
HAL request, not township request.
And you can go along with this?
No, we didn't.
Yeah, in
The
May.
township asked Hal
Oh, you did?
You copied the OCL on your letter.
Okay.
You sent the letter.
That's where you're
Well,
gonna
anyway, I still have a few seconds left. See, the problem is that I can't get to the library in Bethlehem anymore. So you're saying if I buy a Lower Town Library card, I still can't get to the Bethlehem Library like we used to go to. That's the library that we liked to use. It was the library for us. So now we don't have any recourse on this. That's not the library I go to. Well, no, now I'm forced to do something that I shouldn't be forced to do. I agree with you, but.
You're right.
Okay, yeah, somebody's forcing me to do something I don't want to do. Somebody up here maybe? So correct the problem then.
Right, so you know, I can just grab that idea.
That's all I got to say. Thank you.
My name is Theodore Lane. My husband you just heard from. Okay, yes, we have a library membership for Bethlehem Library. Our address is a Bethlehem address, but we live in Lower Saucon Township, which is Hellertown is in that. So we were required to go down to Hellertown and purchase a library card, membership card down there. And then Bethlehem Library said they would honor that library card so we could use their library services, which we have done for the last 28 years. We've been living in this township. Okay? And now that's all been taken away from us. Now we have nobody, no library to go to. The Bethlehem Library passed us a sheet of paper, and on it were 4 libraries listed that we could purchase a membership to for $40 a year. Okay? They were Parkland School District, Whitehall Township, Lower Macungie Township, and then one I never even heard of, Mary something or other, wherever that's located. I have no idea. But those are so far to drive just to use a library service. And the Bethlehem Library was very convenient for us. It has a wide range of resources, a lot more than Hellertown Library. And that was our preferred library. And now it's all been taken away from us because of whatever somebody's decision was to try to take away our services. And it's not fair to the Lower Saucon Township residents. So we have no library now that we can go to.
We have a dump though.
That's all I have to say.
Andrew Election. I don't have to give you my address. I am speaking on the subject of the library because while the minutes from December 7th that you approved tonight are an accurate representation of what was said that night, there was a lot of false information in there, and since we're all about integrity tonight and the ability to be able to say the right things, I thought I ought to straighten some things out. Mrs. De Leon asked at that meeting if there was going to be a mailing sent at the end of the year to all of the township residents, informing them of what the situation was with the library at the end of the year. And I recall that meeting where Mr. Carochi said, oh yes, that's something that we should do. And it was put into the requirements for the library services line in the budget. And on December 7th, he said, we have a program in the budget for that. Well, guess what? You didn't use it. So I don't know what good it was to put a program in the budget for that, but it didn't happen. Then he proceeded to tell us that he had gotten a Philadelphia free library card that had an Access PA card on it. Now, he called it PA Access, but it's correctly Access PA. I had a lovely talk with the librarian from the Free Library of Philadelphia this afternoon, and she and I together went through the website about Access PA. It says to be eligible to participate, Pennsylvania residents must live in a municipality in which a state-aided local library is supported as authorized by the Public Library Code. We no longer live in such a township. Secondly, it says Pennsylvania residents living in a municipality that does not support a local state-aided library are not eligible to participate in the Access PA program. That means that I don't care what kind of a card Mr. Carochi got, he is not eligible for the Access PA program. First of all, Access PA applies only to physical items. If you have a virtual account, as I do, you do not have Access PA capabilities. It is available to free library patrons for whom the free library is their home library. Needless to say, that's not Mr. Carochi's home library. And I said, well, how could he have gotten what he claims is a Access PA card? And she said either he deceptively claimed that he was a Philadelphia resident when he applied in person, or the front desk at the library where he applied was not keeping careful track of who is entitled to Access PA. But the bottom line is, despite what Mr. Bononis said later that day, which is that we have the ability to get an access sticker through the City of Philadelphia Free Library, that's a lie. Secondly, or lastly, the real question we should ask after that line of baloney that Mr. Bononis provided us is, and you ask yourselves, are you better off this January 1st than you were last January 1st?
No.
Markellos, Claudia Markellos. Well, that concludes the
Excuse me.
non-agenda list that we have.
Excuse me? Can I get 1 minute? I forgot to bring something up to you. One minute. Are you aware that the landfill has, the landfill kicked the Bethlehem Police Department out of the firing range?
We're now going to recess the council meeting. We have an executive session that we identified at the beginning of the council meeting. We'll proceed to that and we'll return to the council meeting room when we're done.
You know that?
I wasn't aware of that.
And they approved it, cost them $10,000. Go, you need to go on Bethlehem's council and watch the shit that went on and on YouTube. They kicked them out.
I am your neighbor.
I live in the blue house with the John.
Oh, do ya?
I wanted to come up, I talked to your mother. She was baby.
Oh, my mother-in-law, yeah.
I came up and I came up and I talked to her.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, she's over a lot with the kids to help out, so.
Thursday or something.
Yep.
Did she tell you that? Did she tell you?
Yeah, she told us, yeah. So we got her.
You got good neighbors, Mark.
Huh?
He's got good neighbors.
Who?
I've known him for years, yeah. Her and her husband.
Oh, really?
My husband and him were roommates for a while.
Your Keith's retired? Not yet. He's still on the force.
Small world, I guess, right?
He's enjoying a nice vacation right now.
Oh, he's a good one.
You were right.
I wanted to ask
My daughter was involved with the Steel City Gun Club. And they used to go down to the shooting range all the time.
Yeah,
it was rough for a couple
And
of
they found out they had to get out of it because
I know for like a
the
couple of years now they were, concerned about
bought the range.
Well, the landfill is moving ahead, thinking they can do what they want. And they, last night, or previous,
quality of life she didn't want to do.
they now kicked out the Bethlehem Police Department who had conditional use of the firing range. Now they don't have it. Now Bethlehem City Council approved $10,000 for them to pack up all their equipment and move. Well, where are they moving?
Love of life.
Yeah.
They don't know how crazy the world is right now.
Yeah, neither do I. But we listen to enough gunshots. I don't want them behind my house. Well, I live on Reddington Road, so I get used to fishing game.
Yeah.
I got the proceeding.
I was gonna say, I thought she had just that.
Yep, no more.
So when did that change? Like, when did she change her mind? Because I remember at Carson's birthday, right? She was saying that she's like, I don't want it. I'm all done.
Yeah. She's loving Lucas right now. Girl.
You know, it sucks with the second one because I don't know if Lucas is similar to Ashton, but Ashton is like such a mama's boy.
They're both mama's boys.
They're both mama's boys?
Yep, they don't, because they hardly see me right now with all the work and things going on. They're only awake from 7:30 to 7:30, but
And when I'm working the weekends, Nicole takes me to the beach, or they were doing Hershey's.
Are you really mad at me because I sent those emails?
She's all over the place, so.
I couldn't.
So they have a more.
I know, they weren't. I don't think I even cursed.
I know. Sorry, don't grow up.
Crap, I said.
No, we have a good time. Like, she's going away this week. I'm off this weekend, so I'll be able to.
You get to go with them then, right?
No.
Oh, she's going away and you get the boys.
Stay home, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So they'll love me the entire weekend, but the moment Mom walks through the door.
Yeah.
Myself. Wait, may I curse off?
I'm gonna get one of these kids actually, but I'll see. It's good seeing you.
I'll see you guys soon.
Do you come to these things a lot?
So we weren't for a long time, but recently you see like people are uptick, so
Yeah.
we're starting to. You'll probably see us a lot more in the future if this continues. But once it dies down, we'll go back to our
Yeah.
original.
Obviously, I'm hoping it doesn't die down. It should literally be my backyard, right? It will be. For Christ's sake.
I know, he wasn't on the video.
All right, I'll see
I'll try to come see the house before it's in your backyard.
Yeah, don't take any crazy pictures from outside again.
Does Jay share those?
They're doing. He showed me the one. Wait, those? Like there's multiple?
There was only twice. The one was the mailbox. I'm like, how's this pronounced? Pancakes?
No, he sent me. He showed me one. I guess you must have been like driving because like the house was like the windows a little bit blurry or something. It looked like your TV was. I didn't think you would go down that road very often. But.
No, we always go down.
Yeah.
We try to hit every road we can. So.
I'll see you. Take care.
Have a good night. Be safe. I will.
Well, he was, and then that changed in January because suddenly Sandy stepped off of planning. No, not off the EDC. She stepped off of planning. So that was their back door to get him in as a voting member. So because overall rules say when possible, at least one member of EAC should be a planning commissioner member. So I'm pretty sure they asked Sandy and said, hey, step off because now we have Tom sitting here. Now he can be a voting member. So now we have to see that's how our votes went when we were to be our chair. Oh gosh, we had to hear about it. Sandy should be the chair for life because she helped start it. I've been on the damn board 16 freaking years as a secretary, which kind of put down like, now she's just secretary. It's like, well, you know what, I've been secretary. I used to have to take the minutes for the meetings. I used to maintain a website for them. It's political now. Because they're stuffing voting. I know. Hansburg never came on our board property. We're supposed to vote who is a voting member. We never got the chance to do that. They just put her in. And we are going to argue about that. Well, she doesn't belong over there. Council doesn't appoint voting members other than this little tool they have on the township website. Yeah, they're ridiculous. And Tom's sitting up there saying we're going to get back to doing things. It's like we've always been doing things. They've kind of limited us over the years. It's like everything we bring up, they don't want to do. I want to get started back you can write to your elected officials about that. So did, so I don't know why I signed or you want to we got her.
Yes. Yes.
Like, I don't even know how to get somebody else.
yeah, there's one that's right next to the big shopping center. It's digital. Yeah, it's like by the gas station. The hard paper. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And all that, you know. All right. My eyes are killing me. I don't even know what's in it's on the iPhone. I know. Oh, they did? Okay. They do have oh, okay. Yeah.
This guy got 63,000. He gets it's like that. I mean, the last month. We don't have that here.
Right. Yeah. You know what, I think I saw,
Yeah, but I mean, I have the bills too.
Well, no, they're it avoids all the sunshine.
like,
Yeah. No, it's not a matter of public record or notice.
Had a very educational experience.
Really legal.
yeah, some voices for Mr. Girl. You know,
they got $1 million.
sorry.
Yeah.
So I have to be afraid to say that, and your wife's gonna say, oh.
I know, it's like, these people gonna think, oh, what a person, she is complaining about our council.
Yeah, they do. And then you have 18-year-olds like those. Kids out to them, he goes into dad's car, right?
But they do typically sit there in case they have questions.
And I usually don't yell at them. He was quite shocked.
Great part of it. They part of it. If there's somebody in there, they can they just happen to have be several people there, they can stay
Just
Kangaroo.
I know, it's like I think he owns this. It's like
well, so like tomorrow is not listed on but it's not on the calendar. But it's like, so people that either walk with you. Yes.
And then he claims to live
Unless you're streaming here.
Watch the movie, can't flip it. I shared it around. It's like, wow, we never had anything like that. And the devil was nominated a different year. I know, that's why no, I didn't even say that. I said somebody else suggested to protest at their houses. Like, I think they closed the hallway. No, yeah, I mean, that's all it's been, but if somebody else suggested it, it actually died. Whoever was out there said something like, I just want to protest, you know, personally, or whatever he said. And it's like, somebody else had posted that same thing. Why don't we go protest at their house? Here, I just Googled all their addresses. It's not progress.
I know where you're
Yeah, right, and I better call him. Oh, okay, I'm gonna come over here and also like let me just think about it being out. Probably. Well, we all have Harlem. Well, yes, there is. Oh, right. All right. Yes.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
What categories are
I don't want to confirm anything, but I can probably do that. I used to be very
I'm gonna go and ask her how long she thinks it'll be before, if they're actually looking at my drone.
All right, it's 9:55 p.m. We'll call the Lower Saucon Township Council meeting back to order again. The council met in executive session. I'm going to make a motion to amend the agenda to authorize action from the executive session. That's second.
Second.
All right, all those marking the
Why do you
board.
have to amend the agenda?
Because we're taking action from the executive session.
And what does the new law say that, how we do that?
But you have to make a motion to amend the agenda to add it, and it's an issue that just came up in the executive session.
Okay, so.
All right, Mark?
Ms. Yerger, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Benonis, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Croce, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. DeLeon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Engels, how do you vote?
Yes.
All right, as I said, council had met in executive session. We're going to make a motion to authorize the township solicitor to send a letter to the Pennsylvania State Attorney General regarding allegations in the complaint filed in Northampton County, Porter Common Pleas Docket number C-48-CV-2023-57, matter captioned Borough of Howardtown versus Lower Saucon Township. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Benonis, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Croce, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. DeLeon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Engels, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Yerger, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, I think that concludes our items for tonight's agenda. I'll have a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Mr. Croce, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. DeLeon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Engels, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Yerger, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Benonis, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion passes.